Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edwin Buzz Aldrin. 3 men to represent the culmination of a dream and the beginning of a new concept of reality.
Start streaming. All right. Hopefully I'm back. This is already one of those things. Hopefully I'm getting all the bad luck out of the way for you guys and for the crew and for NASA. We're back, right? And also, is sound sync better? Because I did a bunch of stuff in OBS before this, and that's probably why it crashed. Because of course, as soon as you touch it, it crashes. But is the sound, is that better? Sync's good? Okay. Yes. Okay, sweet. Welcome to what I think is maybe, if I'm being perfectly honest, maybe the most nail-biting part of this entire mission. Launch is always one thing, but re-entry, and with a heat shield that, you know, had problems on the first re-entry attempt when it was uncrewed in 2022, you know, we're going to be watching this very closely. Thank you all for your patience with streams. It wouldn't be an Everyday Astronaut stream without some kind of little glitch. And thank you also for all of you that have been listening to my music lately. As you know from the intro of this and any of the songs you've ever heard in any of my music, it's always, or in any of my videos, it's always original music. I did put out a full-length album at the beginning, or in January, called Direct to Orbit. So get it on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. Give it some streams. Yeah, it's kind of wrote it like with this mission in mind. To be perfectly honest, there's a lot of things that I was like just envisioning them flying around the moon. Well, to be perfectly honest, some of the songs I had written for that were envisioning me flying around the moon, but that's no longer happening. So same applies to Artemis II. So anyway, I've got this all pulled up here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to start listening in live because they are starting to prepare already for the reentry interface, which will begin in roughly, what are we at here? About an hour and 15 minutes already. So let's pull that up and let's see what they're talking about.
Latest weather forecast out in the recovery zone off the coast of San Diego is a go forecast from our meteorologists here at the Spaceflight Meteorology Group at the Johnson Space Center. And standing by on the deck of the USS John Murtha is my colleague from the Kennedy Space Center, Megan Cruz.
Okay, I did offhandedly mention what happened with the heat shield last time. I'm seeing people already asking questions, and I figure I should definitely do a little bit here to make sure to educate you and let you know what happened with the heat shield last time. So on Artemis II is an uncrewed test flight, very similar profile, a little bit different, but it went out to the moon and it came back. And what happened was when they recovered the vehicle, whoa, is she on the boat? On the ship, the recovery vessel? It kind of looks like it. If so, that's awesome. So anyway, when it splashed down last time in November 2022, they recovered it and they kind of saw, you know what? The heat shield has these big chunks missing out of the heat shield. That's obviously something you don't want to have. And the reason is, what they were doing is they were trying, this is the 21st century. We should be making heat shields cheaper and easier than we were during the Apollo program. Now, during the Apollo program, the heat shield had these tiny little things that were like these little honeycomb structures. And there was literally thousands of these little sections of heat shield that you had to manually inject the avcoat, the ablative material into every single cell, literally one at a time. And it was like hundreds of hours to be able to do that right without having bubbles and things. And they decided, you know what, we could make larger, bigger tiles of this stuff and machine them to be perfect and make this perfectly even heat shield. Not only that, they also were trying to do this thing called skip reentry, where they actually allow the vehicle, when it's coming back into reentry. Remember, when it's reentering, I'll go full screen here for a little bit, even though these are 6 shots, maybe I shouldn't. But those are some of the helicopters that will go out there and start circling to make sure they have eyes, tracking. But remember, when you're re-entering, the atmosphere, if you've seen photos from Artemis II, the atmosphere is a tiny little, millimeter compared to this, this globe here. You're aiming for this little tiny thing. And what they can do, if they intentionally kind of go into the atmosphere, and then because the center of mass, okay, now I should have like a million visuals to explain this best. But because the center of mass of the capsule is offset, so imagine a heat shield. I wish I had something that represented a heat shield a little better. This is maybe a little better, a disc. Imagine if the heat shield was a little off-center. You can literally surf it, basically. You can rotate the capsule by rolling the capsule. You can either go down deeper into the atmosphere or roll it this way and kind of come up out of the atmosphere. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so you kind of come in, you bleed a good amount of the velocity, and then in order to make it so you could really precisely target where exactly you're splashing down, you roll out, you come up out of the atmosphere a little bit, you allow the heat shield to kind of cool down, radiate some heat out into space, take a breath basically, and then it comes back down in, and that way you can really precisely target a landing area. And this actually opened up more opportunities for recovery, because it just allows for more flexibility basically for recovery to be able to land off the coast of California, which is where they're landing today, where they're splashing down. Now, what they discovered was because they'd allowed it to do the skip reentry, it allowed for these molten pockets basically of unburnt material that were stuck underneath the heat shield. They started to outgas, and they could actually form these cracks and basically these pocks and more or less deteriorate parts of the heat shield. So what they're doing this time is they're actually not allowing it to outgas like this. They're intentionally going to do a more traditional profile reentry profile. And what that means is the recovery area might be a little bit bigger. That's the big trade-off, is the recovery area will be bigger, and technically the peak temperature, peak heating will be greater, but the overall temperature will be lower because you're kind of doing it all at once. So instead of like taking in a bunch of heat, trying to radiate some of it out and taking in a bunch more heat over a greater period of time, you're kind of doing it all at once. And in the lab, this proved to be a lot safer. And there's a few important notes here. Sorry, this is a long little mini rant at the beginning of a thing. There's a long little, so two things. One is, even if crew had been on Artemis II, they would have been completely safe. And even if it had burned all the way through the heat shield, which it didn't, there's still enough material there that the crew very likely would have been completely safe anyway. So we're talking about, the finest orders of, not orders of magnitude, but we're the finest. There's a lot of contingencies, and obviously NASA is going to be quite risk averse. Lockheed Martin's going to be very obviously risk averse. And they decided that they can still fly the same heat shield by just altering the profile to a more traditional profile. Does that answer everyone's questions on this? So for me, I'll answer this before the question even comes up. Am I nervous? Yeah, of course. This is a very dynamic, probably one of the riskier parts. At least on Ascent, you always have the abort engines. You have the abort motor, the launch escape system. This is probably one of the riskier parts. However, in my mind, like I'm 3% worried, 5% worried maybe of like, what if? But I would fly, I would ride in this. I would fly and re-enter because it's a very passive, like the vehicle is very passively stable. The biggest things we have to worry about, I would say still are just parachutes. And parachutes are always one of the scariest parts of any spaceflight mission. So yeah, that's my tee up there. Hopefully that lets you guys know kind of what the status is here. And from Choco Later, it's splash o'clock. You're darn right, it's splash o'clock. Yeah, this is from Timothy Lipinski. When are we launching to new low inclination LEO CSS to take the Blue Moon HLS to the moon? LEO CSS to take the Blue Moon HLS to the moon. When are we launching to the low inclination LEO CSS? I don't quite get what CSS means. Can anyone else help out there? Yeah. But I'll just answer this with when are we launching Blue Origin HLS to the moon? Hopefully we'll see Blue Origin Mark 1 launching to the moon this year. Uncrewed, still a massive lunar lander though. Let's listen in here quick because they are talking about the crew.
Again, just below their feet in the mid-deck area, if you will, Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen of the Canadian Space Agency. They're in the final review of their entry procedures and all of the activities that will follow here very shortly in trip hammer fashion. We should note that after splashdown occurs, the flight control team here in Houston will be monitoring the orientation of the Integrity spacecraft. We are expecting it to splash down upright in what is called the Stable 1 configuration, with the top of the spacecraft pointed upward. Stable 2 would indicate that it is upside down in the water. Regardless of the orientation, there will be 5 inflatable airbags called the CMOOS system. That's the acronym for Crew Module Uprighting System.
We are suit dot complete.
Houston copies.
To splashdown, but
Reed Wiseman acknowledging that the final steps in suit donning are now complete for the crew. Leak checks have been completed earlier. The CMOOS system, those 5 inflatable airbags, will be inflated with helium. Those airbags will ensure that the vehicle remains upright. While that activity is going on, the flight control team here will be checking the systems on integrity, also making sure that there's no leakage of toxic gas from the spacecraft. It should take about 15 minutes from splashdown to the power down of all of the systems on integrity. And at that point, assuming everything is in a nominal fashion, then the green light will be given for the Navy recovery teams to begin to make their way closer to integrity, to begin the erection of a large inflatable life raft called a front porch that will be buttressed up alongside the hatchway to the spacecraft. That life raft will be used to bring the crew members out of this vehicle once the hatch is open, one by one. They'll get their land legs back after 9 days of weightlessness before they're put in harnesses to be hoisted one by one in sequential fashion, in an alternating fashion, to the 2 hovering Navy helicopters overhead.
Houston integrity for status.
Go ahead.
Seats 3 and 4 are connecting umbilicals. We're going to be stepping into leak check soon. 1 and 2 will be seated. 3 and 4 will be free float, and we'll configure EPROC accordingly.
Houston, copies all.
Reed Wiseman talking about the current procedures with the suiting of the crew members and subsequent leak checks, a final leak check for all 4 crew members. Everything is actually running a few minutes ahead of schedule.
Now, of course, like I said, this is a dynamic event, re-entry, so that's why they're suited back up. This would be the time where, if there were to be like a breach in a hull or something, you'd sure want to have your spacesuit on to provide oxygen and life support. Hopefully that answers that question. Let's keep moving here. I'll keep listening kind of as I'm answering questions, make sure we're not missing anything. Eddie Willing talking about the start of the stream here. No sweat, brother. Even Artemis II had sound issues and had to reboot. Lol, your crew and equipment is the best in the biz. Keep flying. Thank you so much. I always appreciate the love and support from you guys, sincerely. This was the most mundane thing of all. It's just OBS, and which I use all the time and I love, and I'm so thankful that it's a open source free software that's been amazing. When I'm streaming here in the studio, I'm not streaming with our big production trailer that you maybe saw in our slow-mo footage, our compilation that I put out today, and that we've been using for the last over a year now. I'm just using a literal laptop and OBS, and then a nice camera, and that's about it. So thank you. I appreciate it. Beta Logic, would it be possible to get an SLS model for the store? If not, do you have any recommendations on where you could get a really good one shipped to the UK? We do want to do, SLS is definitely on our list. I need to actually pay attention on social media. I'm going to do a poll here. We have mock-ups and a design for making options right now for Falcon 9 to be able to become a Falcon Heavy, where we could either build like an expansion pack, so you could buy it as 2 more cores plus the transporter rector and a fairing, so you could make it a Falcon Heavy, or we're debating just selling it all together as a separate Falcon Heavy rocket. The only problem is it's literally almost 3 times more material than this. So, and we really don't want it to be 3 times the price. It's the scary thing is it's going to be a lot more expensive. And we know that our models are already premium and relatively, they're pretty expensive. Although I actually have to say they're cheaper than a lot of just really low fidelity, it's actually wild. That was the big goal, is to be cheaper than the other models that I've, had and have in my life, but higher fidelity, higher quality, made out of metal. That was always the goal. I think we absolutely nailed it. However, when you start doing more material and triple the cores and stuff, I don't want to be anywhere near triple the price. So we gotta. I'll do a poll on that. But SLS is definitely on the list. Starship eventually, when it stops evolving every 10 seconds. But SLS would be actually a fun next one to try to get out. Although it's big. Don't forget SLS, the booster. The solid rocket boosters are actually about the same size as the Falcon 9. They're really big. They're actually a little bit bigger than a Falcon 9 booster. So imagine an SLS core on this desk would be, the whole vehicle would be above the screen here. So it'd be a very big model rocket. In which direction is pointy end pointing? Slithery, thank you so much. And this, hopefully the truncated, the nose will be pointing away from the atmosphere during reentry. That's extremely important. Because they are accelerating towards Earth, do they feel gravity in the capsule? No, they do not. So remember, the only reason you ever feel gravity is because something is pushing against you, right? If you're jumping on a trampoline, there's a brief moment where you don't feel gravity, even though gravity is accelerating on you. Or if you're falling off a cliff, you don't really feel gravity, except for you feel the acceleration and the wind resistance, but you don't feel the gravity. You only feel gravity when there's something pushing on you, right, to feel the gravity. So when everything, your frame of reference, when everything around you is accelerating the same, gravity's pulling on you on the exact same amount that is pulling on your spacecraft, right? So you're all accelerating together. That's what the 0G is. There's always gravity. People confuse 0G with zero gravity. That's not true. There's always gravity. You can't be in space without experiencing some gravity. You're either experiencing Earth's gravity. I mean, even technically across the universe, you're experiencing a 1/4 of a half of a tenth of a billionth of a percent of Earth's gravity. It just slowly tapers away. You obviously are being dominated by other gravitational forces. You can think of gravity like light, where there's other stars that you can see, and technically their gravity is affecting us. But the most dominant light source is the sun. So we are, Earth and the moon and all the planets in the solar system are bound to the sun's gravity. However, when you get closer to a body like Earth, that's the dominant gravitational pull. But because you and everything around you is experiencing that same gravitational pull, you're in 0G. You're experiencing zero net acceleration. Even though you're technically accelerating towards Earth, but it's a constant acceleration. So that's what makes it feel like you are in free fall, and that's why you're floating. So when you go out to the, people were asking if you're slinging around the moon, do you feel that G-force of slinging around the moon? No, because you and everything you're experiencing is experiencing the exact same gravitational pull. Hopefully that helps make that, yeah. How hot does it get inside the capsule during reentry? I think the life support system keeps it at a nice, modest temperature. I don't know if it actually heats up much, but they keep the internals of the spacecraft at 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So what is that, like 24-ish, 23 Celsius? Hang on. Quick little Google. 75 Fahrenheit to Celsius is 24. I'm pretty good. My metric to Imperial's decent, but that's probably my least decent one. Yeah, they normally try to keep it during the mission. It's been at 75. I don't know if it changes during reentry. I'll listen in and see if they talk about that. I would expect that the heat shield is obviously the big thing with an ablative heat shield, a heat shield that intentionally ablates away or chars away. It takes heat away with it. That's why it's like burning away. Just like you can literally use wood as a heat shield basically, and when the leading edge of the wood gets too hot and brittle, it breaks off and it takes heat with it. That's what ablation is. And so obviously there's also insulation between the cabin and that heat shield. So yeah, I don't know if the cabin itself actually heats up and if they have ways to reject or continually keep it cool. Good question though. Can they steer control Orion when it's coming down via chutes? No, once it's under parachutes, it's all passive. There is no steering. And at that point, they're just falling straight down. And they're falling in a giant, hundreds of square kilometer area is their splashdown zone. There's a huge keep out zone to make sure that there's no, planes in the area. There's no reason for them to steer. It's not like they're steering away from a mountain or anything like that. They're just falling straight down. Let's see. Put another pointy end up. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the pointy end is up. And by the way, I know you can't really tell too well on the left little mini screen there, but the Earth is getting closer. They're going to be, from that vantage point, I wish they had an altimeter here just so we knew how far away they are. You could do the math to know, but you can actually, if you're watching really closely, I'm especially looking kind of between the solar panel and the spacecraft there. If you watch that little slice, you can actually, that's probably where I'm getting the best sense of movement. You can kind of tell it's taking up more and more space. So cool. So cool. Will they choose, choose off the, why did they choose off the coast of San Diego? Sorry. Two reasons. One, so with this, when they have a little bit bigger landing site, it's safer with the Pacific Ocean, if let's say you come up a little bit short, you have a lot more room to play with, basically. If you come up short, you're splashing down. If you come up short, trying to do an Atlantic splashdown when you're always flying west to east, you could potentially land on land, and this vehicle is not designed to do that. It's designed to land on water. So that would be potentially catastrophic if you, because it lands pretty fast. It lands at a speed that's safe for landing on water, but probably would not be safe for landing on land. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is the recovery vessels are stationed there in San Diego at the Navy base. So it's a relatively, short, easy trip for them. And then also it just lines up really well with the inclination of the mission. And it's easy to, like I said, there's a lot of ocean leading up to that, and there's just a lot of wiggle room there. So I think those are the main reasons. Great questions, guys. Lee Gallagher, could they send an HLS to NRHO? So the human landing system, so Starship or Blue Origin lunar landers, could they send those to NRHO, the near rectilinear halo orbit, which is what was the initial planning for all these missions, for Artemis II, and do an Apollo 10 style mission to test it? Have to admit, I'm already buzzing for the next moon mission. So that was almost the original plan. The original plan was basically to land on Artemis III. Now they are skipping going out to the moon. They're just doing a low Earth orbit shakedown of the Orion capsule and one or both HLS lunar landers. I think that's way better. If you're doing another, again, high dynamic, potentially risky first docking of these two vehicles, first time you have, their pressurization, they're going to be testing out the environmental control, and all the life support between these two vehicles and the docking mechanism and all that stuff. And that's, again, a dynamic event. If you have like a pressurization event or some other, something, I would much rather you be in low Earth orbit and can get home in minutes versus get home in days, right? So I think that's a wise decision. And all they're doing for that, they moved Artemis 3 about a year ago. Artemis 3 was supposed to be 2027, but about a year ago they moved it to say Artemis 3, the landing on the moon, was going to be 2028. Now what they did is they moved Artemis 3 a year back up to 2027, but they removed the moon from the equation. It's just low Earth orbit, and then Artemis 4 will be the first landing on the moon, targeting still 2028. So the landing on the moon date didn't change. They actually just added a mission as a shakedown, which I think is a fantastic idea. I'm always a fan of more tests and more shakedowns. Ella Gerhard says, in a spacecraft like Dragon, where abort thrusters are attached to the whole way up and whole way down, would there be any benefit to firing the Super Dracos in the event of overheating on reentry? In theory, if you were starting to overheat, slowing down and being able to fire abort motors during descent to slow you down, that would be beneficial to lowering your heat. If that for some reason was some crazy issue, you could do something like that. However, you don't want to burn through all of your propellant because you're still using those control thrusters to help maintain attitude, even though it's mostly passively stable. But you do want to use that propellant, the hypergolic propellant on board Dragon. You do still want some of that. So could you do something like that? Sure. Is there a system set up in place where they're measuring the temperature of the heat shield and then have the ability to have it override and say, fire these things to slow us down 400 meters per second because we're getting too hot? Probably not anything like that in the loop. Whoa, from Vaprex, thank you so much. Holy crap. $100 super chat. Thank you so much. Everyone, please, on behalf of me and everyone say thank you to Vaprex. Jeez. Any idea how many integral components of Artemis, including things like the heat shield, fins, etc., utilize 3D printing, even if only for prototyping, early development, etc.? Orion's been around for almost 21 years, so I don't know how much of it has been 3D printed, but you would imagine that as you're especially getting into high-fidelity mock-ups, there's nothing better than a quick 3D print to be able to make sure things fit the way you're expecting them to fit. You can even do things like...
Maneuver initiates, and both GPS units look eager to acquire.
Outstanding. Seats 3 and 4 are working on seat strap in now.
Houston copies.
Once again, as we start to close in on some of the major milestones, the first one coming up in just 31 minutes.
And Integrity, just confirming the LCG gas trap was able to be closed out.
Affirmative.
Copy.
Crew module, service module separation scheduled just 31 minutes from now. The key point of interest, of course, will be the performance of Integrity's heat shield during its high-speed entry back into Earth and the peak heating that is expected around the spacecraft of some 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. On Artemis I, as I think most folks know by now, we flew a trajectory known as a skip entry, in which we performed an initial dip into the atmosphere to bleed off some energy. Then we skipped out of the atmosphere and dipped back into the atmosphere before splashing down in the Pacific. But after the mission was over with, we noticed unexpected liberation of some of the charring effects on the heat shield known as AVCOAT. Before the flight, we had an opportunity to sit down and talk.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Let's keep answering some questions. So as far as 3D printing, though, back to that, you know, that's a very common method, especially in early prototyping and in almost every area of aerospace right now. Everyone does some form of 3D printing. Metal 3D printing has obviously become big for certain, there's literally pieces that you can't produce without 3D printing. 3D printing has opened up some, especially for like cooling passages and things that are just impossible to machine, even on like a 6-axis, CNC or something. It's opened up some new doors. And so I know, I can't name specifically what, but I have even at Johnson Space Center, I remember at one time actually seeing, this is probably 7 years ago now, I do recall, 6 years ago, I do recall seeing a 3D printed, as one of the earlier 3D printed things I had seen, where it was big ridges, very obviously 3D printed, and it was some kind of console or like a panel mock-up thing, and I don't remember why it was out there. And I've also seen like a docking adapter that's 3D printed at Johnson Space Center. Yeah. Hopefully that answers that question. Thank you for the great question. Just letting you know too, by the way, they're about to start acquiring GPS and using that as one of their modes of telemetry versus only tracking data, which is where they're basically measuring a lot of stuff. So let's see. Let's keep going here. Excuse me. Ryan Heckman. Saw your compilation of the Artemis II launch that went up earlier. Great work as always. 10 out of 10. Here's to the safe return of the crew home. Thank you so much. So yeah, for those of you that after this, let me make sure they're not talking. I don't want to talk over them.
We copy.
I missed it.
Commander Reed Wiseman reveling in his final hour in space on this mission, as Integrity is passing over the southwest coast of Australia now at an altitude of some 7,600 nautical miles.
Obviously, I think you guys know this, and you can tell by the big giant words that say, well, I'm blocking a little bit of it, but it does say visualization in the upper left-hand corner. When they don't have good video downlink, these visualizations are based on the real-time telemetry. So they're taking the attitude, the altitude, and they're putting them into a model so that we have something to look at. It's nothing, like I love when people go, how did they get this camera view? It's clearly like a 3D model. So, but it's a good to help us understand and get a sense of perspective on how this is, how this is working. So that shows where they're at right now. But yeah, hopefully you guys, after this splashdown and after this successful splashdown, we all can hang out or you guys should watch our ultimate 4K slow-mo compilation of launch as a celebration. Turn up your sound system really loud. I promise it'll be worth it. Watch the whole thing and get a little tear in your eye because it's incredible. Let's see here. Over which part of the Earth does re-entry begin? Basically, re-entry begins more or less around Hawaii, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And re-entry doesn't take the space shuttle took a while through re-entry because it basically stayed up in the atmosphere longer and slowed down over more time and over more distance. Something like this, you're re-entering a lot, more direct. You're basically coming in, you can do, like I said, we were talking about earlier, the skip re-entry where you're coming out of the atmosphere a little bit to cool down. They're negating most of that. It still does a little bit, but it's not going as high and it's not as dramatic. This is from Fazical OG. Thank you for your amazing coverage of this epic journey. I'm lucky enough to work with the teams involved in this adventure. That's amazing. Congrats. Cheers. That is fantastic. From XL Deer, do we have pointy end up, anti-flamey end down? We don't yet, so we're going to wait until that orientation is confirmed before we make that call out on this. It will definitely be a flamey end down situation. From JG, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you're accelerating, you feel a force. Force equals mass times acceleration. Yes, but no. Not in the sense that we are used to it. Not in the sense that we are familiar with, right? Obviously, the force is being exerted upon you, right? But there's nothing to oppose that force. So there's no, when a vehicle accelerates in space, it's like the engines are literally moving the frame of the whole capsule, and you would be floating there and you would still be weightless even as the capsule is beginning to accelerate until you touch something that is accelerating, and then that force is applied to you. Before that, you don't feel that force. Now, if you somehow could also magically accelerate along with an accelerating spacecraft without touching anything, you would not really feel anything. And that's basically what's happening when you're being pulled on by gravity. The gravity's it's a gradient. So the further away you get, the less gravity it is. It follows the inverse square law. So if you're twice as far away from a body, you receive 1/4 the amount of the gravity. So you're constantly receiving more or less amount of gravity, but you and your environment is experiencing the same gravitational pull. That's why you experience 0G. So yeah, that's the sensation. Technically, you are having a force applied to you, but it's not what we think of when we think of 0G. It's literally like you're in free fall, but you're in a vacuum, so you don't even feel air resistance. Apparently, the heat shield has not actually been tested, which is astonishing since it's the only thing that prevents them from burning up. No, it has been tested. They tested this exact type of heat shield on Artemis II. And Artemis 1 was two things. It never left, it technically got up to like medium Earth orbit. I think it was peaked at 3,600 kilometers in altitude. But I also think that actually used the old honeycomb heat shield. And then they modernized it for Artemis 2 and Artemis 3. But they'll likely go back to something in between. So it has been tested, and it was thoroughly tested once they got the results back in lab. Like they went through and they tried. They wanted to understand the root cause of why were these pocking issues observed. How do we prevent that in the future? So it's been tested, just not tested again until now. So you got to trust the science. Minnesota Squatch 1900. Great job as always, Tim and team. Great to see you come from a deadly old spacesuit to what you have made. Best space content on the web. Godspeed, Artemis II. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. David Mallins, at what point will the process be visible from Earth? Separation, entry, and from where? So if you were a few hundred kilometers southwest of San Diego in the ocean, you would be able to see this. Unfortunately, the re-entry is going to be during daylight for everyone on purpose, so it's easier to see the parachutes and easier for the recovery efforts. But that also means it's harder to see the streaks. So even those, let me see if I can find a ground track here. Let me see if I can find that. Okay, that did not pull up what I thought it would. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, it's basically southeast of... Hang on, let me do this real quick, sorry. This is the... Okay, here we go. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. This is the re-entry corridor. So if you were in Hawaii, there would be a small chance if you knew exactly where to look, but that's quite a ways off Hawaii. Look at how close they're entering to, off the Baja. I don't think from Hawaii you'd be able to see, look at that distance. That's as far as Oregon to, yeah, you're not seeing that. Well, if you know where to look from Hawaii, if you're on top of the mountains there, you might be able to see something. But it's daylight. That's going to make it a lot harder. So, yeah. And also while I'm on this, I did want to mention I'm not going to... Oh, yeah, we'll do the code. Because I was going to say we should probably wait until they officially splash down before we celebrate. Because normally we do like a launch day code. I have a new code in the shop right now for Splashdown. All one word, all lowercase. Splashdown. SPLASHDOWN. If you want to get some merch that helps, remember this incredible mission that I think has inspired more people than I ever thought would happen, including our awesome Orange to the Core shirt. I gave you guys, I had to talk to the shop, but we were able to do 15% off of our new collection. So if you do want something from our shop, including our Orange to the Core shirt that's a tribute to SLS that got them into space, or anything else from our new Translunar Coast collection, including our slow roll towing, a little nod to the crawler there. everydayastronaut.com/shop. Use coupon code Splashdown, all one word, all lowercase. And this is still one of my favorites, actually, the Translunar Coast shirt with the astronauts on the back. Yeah, so if you want to get something, including the hat that I'm wearing, the Translunar Coast, this is all meant to be kind of like a summer collection of, I feel like this is a good summer vibe. The Translunar Coast is meant to be, the coasting on the way out to the moon, but also just kind of a summer vibe, a coast. So everydayastronaut.com/shop. Use coupon code Splashdown for 15% off our brand new collection. And also support the shop. Help us clear this stuff out, guys. We have in the RUDS section, if you go up to the top left corner, go to RUDS. We have shirts. We're selling out of most of them now. A lot of them actually have sold out. But we have shirts for $10. Help us clear inventory. We don't do print on demand. These are all printed. These are all still in a warehouse. Some closeout shirts on some classics. So get something for you, a loved one, a baby, a little tiny kid, whatever you want. everydayastronaut.com/shop. Okay. Listening back in now. Let's get back to some questions. We haven't missed anything yet. The next big milestone will be in about 25 minutes. They will be doing the 18 minutes. They'll be doing the separation between the command and service module. So although this is not it, pretend this is the service module. It has all the thrusters and the main propulsive engine. They're going to separate like that, exposing the heat shield to be able to, be ready for re-entry. So it's a very important thing. HeatSeek 4890, thanks for the great content. I was wondering, do you think a lot of the people trying to prove this mission fake on social media are foreign bots trying to drive and divide the country? I think so. You know what? Here's what I think. It's really easy to get into rabbit holes. On Threads, I literally interacted with 2 flat earthers or maybe a third person about the Artemis program, and all of a sudden that's all my feed was conspiracy theories. And so it's these stupid algorithms and these dumb companies that are just pushing engagement. That's all they care about. That is their only metric. And of course, you can get in these big feedback loops, you can get in these echo chambers, and this should be applied to us in every area of life, whether it be, anything that you're into or not into. And that's the problem. So I can't tell how much of this is an honesty of people trolling, of people doing this intentionally just to be divisive, how much of this is people confused by now with AI slop and people uploading, look at the incredible Artemis II missions. Here's my favorite images. And they're all AI. And you're like, this does not help. Is this person a bot that's just trying to farm engagement? Or is this person sincerely thinking these images are the best images from Artemis II, even though every one of them is fake? I don't know, which is why it's more important now than ever to find trusted sources and go to them and come and start weeding out the noise, the for you stuff. I've been trying to do that lately. I've been trying to pay less and less attention to the algorithm, and I'm being a lot more intentional about who and what I watch, because there are some trusted sources out there still. There's still humans that have been doing this. Not to toot my own horn here, I've been doing this for 9 years. I've been paying attention to this mission since before I even started doing YouTube. I care about this a lot. I'm going to present stuff as factually as possible. They are now releasing a weather balloon, by the way. That's not a UFO. Speaking of conspiracies, they just caught a UFO going over the ship. No, they're releasing weather balloon data to help model accurately where splashdown will be. Anyway, that's my rant. But now more than ever, if you have a trusted news source, a trusted content creator, a trusted source of media, stick with it and really support them, because it's only getting worse. This won't get better unless we start asking for accountability from these social media companies to start saying, hey, you got to be labeling AI content. You got to, link sources. You have to, having some stuff like that would be the only thing I can really think of. Let's see.
Where they may start acquiring, so should be within the next 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. We're holding at step 17 and getting ready for CM-RCS hot fire.
And that exchange indicating that we are expecting to acquire data from the GPS system on board. That'll be a navigational tool that will basically tell Integrity's computers that they're on track down the center line of the corridor for the entry interface that will lead them to their splashdown point. Once again, the Artemis I entry exposed the heat shield for about 20 minutes of peak heating. For Artemis II, we're going to reach a downtrack distance of 1,701 nautical miles from the point of entry interface, with just 14 minutes of duration. And it's basically a different angle of attack, a little bit steeper angle of attack that will protect the heat shield from excessive heat loads. So that is the difference between Artemis I and Artemis II, all designed into this mission to gather data to protect the heat shield, since the Artemis III mission and beyond will have a different designed heat shield that will allow that skip entry type of profile.
Now, I should actually be pedantic here for just 1 second. When you actually do a steeper, shorter profile, you're still burning off the exact same amount of energy. You still have all this kinetic energy, right? This vehicle needs to go from, 32,000 kilometers an hour, 25,000 miles an hour, and you need to get down to basically zero, right? And you have to bleed all that speed out. And so whether you do it over 20 minutes or you do it over 14 minutes or you do it over 5 minutes or an hour, it's the same total amount of energy, right? So the main difference actually is if you do it throughout a shorter period of time, like they're going to do now, they actually experience greater peak heating. The maximum peak heat that they will experience will be higher. The total temperature, or I think I'm saying this backwards. The top temperature the heat shield will reach will be higher in order to reduce the total heat load on the vehicle, the total heat load. I said that right now? I'm already confused because I get those two mixed up no matter how often I talk about them. But I believe that's what we're talking about. So great. Now I'm questioning myself. Do we know if diarrhea in space is a problem, or does onboard toilet capture it nominally? So that's actually a good question. I don't have any, honestly, sincerely, I have no details on the solidity. I like this helicopter camera. I don't have any details on the solidity of stool. Wait, the code's not working. Sorry, I'll listen in here. I'll try to fix the YouTube code.
Keeping a safe distance until
camera,
we are sure that the vehicle is in the water.
Give me a second.
And upright, and that it is in a good configuration system-wide for the recovery teams to begin to approach the vehicle to erect that inflatable raft.
2 minutes to CM-RCS warm-up hot fire.
We're ready.
That call from spacecraft communicator Jackie Mahaffey indicating that we're 2 minutes away from a quick burst of the reaction control system. Thrusters, that will be a hot fire test prior to the separation of the crew module from the service module. The European service module.
Okay, so I checked, and that seems like the code's right. Splashdown. Are you guys... do we get confirmation that that's indeed not working? Is Splashdown not working for you guys? Let me know if so. But yeah, anyway, back to poop. The solidity, which yes, I'm calling is a word. I have no idea. Yeah, no details on that. However, you are basically using a vacuum to put it lightly. So hopefully it is not working. Weird. Now, it's all lowercase. Yes, all lowercase, all one word. Tried upper and lowercase. Hang on. Let's listen in again. I'm going to do a little...
Splashdown in the Pacific just 44 minutes from now.
Great, and then they stop talking. I'm just trying to... I'm checking this out, and of course they stop talking now. I would like to get to the bottom of this now, though. Splashdown? What? You're right. It does say that. What the... Hang on.
What you're looking at is a computer-generated visualization based on real-time telemetry from Integrity. Currently traveling about 16,000 miles an hour.
I can confirm I was also getting that error. I have the shop working on it. That's so sick.
Integrity traveling about 16,000 miles an hour.
For the prop cautions, we're taking a look.
Copy that.
Now just about 5,100 miles from Earth. Splashdown scheduled 43 minutes from now. We're just 9.5 minutes away from the crew module service module separation.
All right, let's answer another question here.
We are confirming.
Integrity, we are assessing details, but so far looks like a good hot fire.
So we're half the distance as when this message
Looks
was
good on board,
10,000
Jackie.
miles.
Thank you.
I do like that they see that. So we're at
And
8,000 kilometers right now from Earth.
Mouth. I was just about to say that we had a good
8,000
hot fire
kilometers.
test of the thrusters
I'll
in
do
advance
the-
of the
I'll do
crew
the math
module
for you
service
guys.
module separation that's coming up just 8.5
You'll notice
minutes from now.
the velocity is going
This,
up and the...
We'll begin the period in which we will have rapid-fire succession of critical activities on board that will lead to
velocity's
entering
going up and the
interface
altitude's
just
going
28
down.
minutes from now, where the vehicle
this is
will
from-
enter the Earth's atmosphere at an
here.
altitude of...
I don't need to talk over them. This is from Randy Butternubs 420. I'm doing the re-entry in KSP in real time. Hopefully the Blaster 5000 vehicle survives so my Kerbals can make Kerbal history. Good luck, Artemis II. I love that. I love that. Kerbals had a huge heyday right now. Huge resurgence. So good luck to your Kerbals. We'll all be cheering for them too. Maybe not as much, but we will be cheering for them. Are they still accelerating relative to Earth? And if so, will they be traveling at highest velocity just before it ran through? Correct. They're accelerating relative to Earth. They're accelerating towards Earth. And their highest velocity will be as they're beginning to re-enter. There'll be a while where you're starting to, your acceleration is decreasing because of the air resistance. However, you're still accelerating until a certain point where the air resistance is greater than 9.8 meters per second squared of decelerating force. So, let's see. How many miles from the coast does the splashdown occur? It's a few. I think it's 200 or 400 miles. So, yeah, basically 320 to 600 kilometers.
Hot fire. And although we are not seeing GPS acquired yet, you can skip the troubleshooting steps in 157 for now.
Integrity copies.
GPS would be good to have, but it's not
GPS
necessary.
discussion indicating that we will be...
They're coming back no matter what. And actually, this is a question on that. How do they steer to the Pacific Ocean? So this is part of the mission profile. The whole entire mission has been basically taking them to the Pacific Ocean. You can aim for the Pacific Ocean way out at the moon, basically. And that's also why they took off when they took off, was so that the Earth was rotating the right way, so that after, the 9 full days, almost 10 days of this mission, when they're coming back, they're lined up with where the Earth is rotated. The Earth is doing this 9 times since launch. And they're basically out of the moon knowing we have to aim for right here so that we line up so we're in daylight and good recovery conditions to be able to land right here. So there's nothing more. You can steer it a little bit about, like I was saying with the heat shield having an offset center of mass. You can rotate and help steer to go higher and lower, a little bit left and right, but it's very minute. Like your primary vector is like you're going to land here in this relative area, but then using some of that, skip reentry profile and a few other things that they aren't really doing, but you can still continue to guide and steer a little bit only through rolling of the capsule, literally just this way. That will, because of the offset center of mass, if you steer, yeah. I'm going to listen in.
That GPS data is basically telling Integrity's onboard computers its position relative to the Earth, but its trajectory and its orientation according to flight dynamics and the guidance, navigation, and control officer is spot on. We have now armed the pyros for the crew module service module separation coming up less than 5 minutes from now. Once again, just 10 seconds after entry interface, we will see Integrity reaching its peak speed of 24,661.21 miles per hour. That will be just seconds before we begin a 6-minute blackout period.
Integrity, Houston. Your vehicle is in a good config for CM-SM SEP and go for CM raise.
Houston, we see the same on board and copy go for CM raise.
Excellent.
That CM raise referred to as the slight firing of 19 seconds by Integrity's thrusters with a change in velocity of 9.9 feet per second, a slight nudge of the aft end of the vehicle so that it's tilted a bit upward, providing the final angle of attack as the vehicle enters the Earth's atmosphere, this being the mitigating factor that will reduce heat loads on the heat shield as we reach a point downrange from the start of entry interface, some 1,701 nautical miles to the splashdown site.
Quick little update from the shop. I guess we can't do discounts on pre-order stuff, which is our translunar collection, but we have it set up for the 1969 collection. So those of you that, that's also our other really big one that we restocked a decent amount of them. So if you want, yeah, you can get 15% off of our 1969 collection. However, the translunar collection is still, since it's pre-order, I guess that's why it's not able.
Then for the 2 enabled prop cautions, what happened is while the thrusters were firing, multiple pressure sensors on each of the strings diverged a bit from each other. Those limits look to be set pretty tight. We think it could happen again when the thrusters fire in the future, so we are going to suppress those messages.
We concur with suppress, not inhibit. Thank you.
That exchange between Jackie Mahaffey, our Capcom for tonight, and Reed Wiseman aboard Integrity, indicating basically to ignore sensor data. All of Integrity's systems are in good shape.
Okay, cool. And did you see this comment? Someone's teacher, CJ Carthy's teacher, worked on this vehicle before he left Lockheed. That is really cool. Sar, thank you so much. Zarvex21. Tim, have you ever considered setting up an AI assistant to transcribe and highlight the information from the official stream for you on another screen to help you multitask? Like open? No, I haven't considered that. That's not a bad idea though. That's a good use of AI. I like that. That's actually quite a good idea. I should probably be doing that just so I have like updates of like, and like it'd be sick if it could like flash if it's like really important information. K1NG Julian, is the next SLS on schedule for 2028? Longtime fan. I think I'll be needing a new full flow sweater after something like 5 years. Amazing. Well, thank you. The next SLS launch is currently scheduled for 2027. However, it will be a low Earth orbit mission. And hopefully, in my opinion, they can do a low Earth orbit mission without the upper stage, without the ICPS. They only have one more ICPS, the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. That was basically a Delta IV heavy upper stage. They only have one left before they switch to the Centaur 5 or Centaur V upper stage. And they don't need it to get into low Earth orbit. You can do a mission to low Earth orbit fairly easily with just the core, but it gets a little tricky on how you make it so you don't make it so the core still expends itself without some significant modifications. And then you would basically be burning up propellant in your command and service module to be able to do your circularization burn to not, come to reentry on the next orbit. So I hope they figure that out, because I would hate for them to use an ICPS that really isn't necessary. From Cal Fire Chris says, go. Thank you so much. Another $100 super chat. Thank you so much. That is insane. Thank you. Really, really, really appreciate it. Wow. This is from everyone say thank you, by the way. And also thank you, Cal Fire Chris. I assume if you're like a firefighter, thank you for your service. That is amazing. There we go.
Confirmation of crew module, service module separation.
That shot is
great
sick.
view, albeit momentarily.
Houston, good step on board.
Houston copies and concurs.
The European service module now separated from Integrity. A job well done.
Integrity, no action for the 4 CDH cautions. Those are SM related, not applicable.
Yeah, now the
Integrity.
Wow, look at all the debris now from that separation event. By the way, all that debris is coming back, re-entering now. Like that debris does not get stuck in orbit, because all this is coming at the Earth right now, basically. And so even that debris, even if it spreads out, it's still going to spread out and just fall back to re-entry. So a lot of companies no longer use any explosive bolts. They're all using, a pneumatic system. Sorry, I missed that one.
Integrity copies. Good GPS 2.
Coming up on the 2-minute mark until the rays burn. Again, this is the final tweaking of the orientation of Integrity to put it in the right angle, if you will, the angle of attack that it will fly in during its entrance into the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface now just 18 minutes, 25 seconds away.
The simulation
This is a visualization, but driven by real-time telemetry.
The simulation should include the fact that the service module detached from the command module. And by the way, a lot of the debris is actually just liquids. So that you see that umbilical, that little box kind of sitting off to the left-hand side there. That's what feeds electrical data.
The sun hitting the side and the solar rays and the NASA worm right there. It's a beautiful looking machine.
Roger.
That's cool. Also, you might notice on the map on the screen right there, you see a dog leg going like from right to left over Australia. That's really confusing, because that's the ground track of it. It really hurts my head. But basically, if you were standing and looking at this thing, it'd be coming from west, from west to east. Well, basically from southwest to northeast. But I don't actually understand why it appears to ground track that way. But it's something to do with because sadly we live on a ball. If we didn't live on a ball, that'd look a lot easier. The vehicle, while going 25,000 miles an hour, 32,000 kilometers an hour, isn't able to make a sudden turn like that. Beyond 90 degree, 165 degree turn. It's not going to be like that. Get out of here. Yeah. So I don't, it's something about the way it's going like this. The Earth's still rotating this way. It hurts my head. That one hurts my head. I would love to see that one in 3D, because I think that makes a lot more sense than trying to project it onto a two-dimensional flat plane. Is the ISS crew going to see Artemis crew flying by? The odds of that happening are very, very, very low, because I was looking, I thought we were starting to see re-entry, but I think that's a boat that's in that screen up there. No, don't forget that the ISS isn't just like out in space and it's got eyes on everything. It's relatively small. It's the size of an American, a football field. We'll call it football field, whether an American or the real football. It's only about that big, and imagine a football field on a globe, and it's going at 51.6 degrees, and it's going like this while the Earth's spinning like this. So the odds of that lining up, not only where it is orbit to orbit, but also where it is in its phase of orbit, because it could easily be over here or over here or over here. And so the odds of those two being within visual vicinity and close enough to be able to see such a small thing in space is very low. Is it impossible? No. I don't know where the ISS is now. We can use ISS Spotter and we can look it up, but
when you perform the 180 roll, for the first minute or so in that attitude, we expect about a minute LOS.
We copy.
I'm not going to lie. Okay, so it's basically over Korea right now. Technically it's over a bit of Russia. And it's about to be kind of going over the Bering Strait area in Alaska. It might be flying relatively close vicinity at 400 kilometers. It'll be well above it. But if they knew exactly where to look, there's a chance you could see reentry from the ISS. Maybe. Very small chance, which would be wild. That would be like absolutely crazy. So, yeah. Any idea why the altitude instruments are out of sync? I didn't see altitude instruments out of sync. I'm sorry, I did miss that. However, thank you so much for your donation. I need to refresh. I'm behind. I don't think I'm behind. So don't forget, there's a delay between, if you're watching me and you also have the official stream up, there's going to be about an 8-second delay. That's just because I'm ingesting it, streaming, and then it goes back up, right? So there's 8 seconds or 20 seconds actually between me and NASA because they're streaming in 4K. And then I have it on low latency to try to increase how little amount of time there is between us. And that might be down to about 5 seconds. Yeah. Let's see. Shout out to, this is great. Shout out to Joshua 9, Samuel 7, and Tobias 4 watching from Australia. We love your work, Tim. Really appreciate your coverage. We hope to visit one day. That is fantastic. Hope you do make it up to the U.S. There's so many awesome space things you can see. Thank you so much for watching with your family. Shout out to all of you that are watching with kids, with family, with friends. Just for tuning in for this history and watching with me means a lot to me, but it especially means a lot when kids and families are involved. That's fantastic. Hello, everyone. Let's watch these guys come back from the moon. And guys, I'm saying guys, I call women guys when you're like, guys, let's go, like that. So, yeah, at least I didn't say the thing that I accidentally said at the Astro Awards where I said 3 humans and 1 Canadian. That'll never be lived down. Gene says, been directly following you for almost a decade. Today is the first time my 11-year-old son watches you, and I just realized he was a baby when I started watching your stuff back then. Crazy to think about. Love from Switzerland. That is fantastic to hear. Again, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Okay, here.
We see the same, waiting for the 180 rolls.
Okay. I'm probably going to slow down on reading comments, but thank you all so much for all the generous donations.
The parachute deployment sequence, once again, will come.
I'm going to kind of start dialing in here a little bit more and listening.
The moon out window 2. Looks a little smaller than yesterday.
Guess we'll have to go back.
Good answer. Good answer. Yeah, I'm going to more or less...
Reed Wiseman and Jackie Mahaffey exchanging discussion on a view of the moon that Integrity's astronauts are seeing in the final minutes of this mission that will be completed with splashdown just 25 minutes from now. 3 forward bay cover parachutes will be used to pull the forward bay cover off the top of the vehicle. Then 2 drogue parachutes will be deployed to slow and stabilize the crew module during its descent. followed by 3 pilot parachutes that will lift and deploy the main parachutes from the forward bay. The final sequence will have 3 main parachutes deployed. These will be 116 feet in diameter, each main parachute approximately 265 feet long when reefed. The parachutes will ultimately slow Integrity down from its peak speed of almost 33 times the speed of sound to a gentle 19 miles an hour at splashdown.
I guess we're still a good 10 minutes away from really entry interface beginning, and we might start experiencing blackout at that point. I did want to address a few things. So there will be a communications blackout during from about when I have the clock set to T-minus 10 minutes. That's about when we'll start experiencing blackout in communications with the crew. That's because when the crew's re-entering, there's a giant plasma buildup around the vehicle. It gets so hot, the air, and don't forget, the air doesn't get hot from air friction. It actually gets hot from being compressed. So the heat shield is basically like a giant, kind of slightly rounded disc. It's coming in so fast, it's going 20 times faster than a bullet. As it begins to hit the atmosphere, the air molecules can't get out of the way fast enough. And what happens when you compress air? It heats up. Just like what happens when you spray like a can of air and it expands, it cools down. So you're compressing air, and it compresses so much that it actually goes from being a gas to the next state of matter, which is a plasma. So that's what's going to prevent the communication between the capsule and the ground stations and even satellites. They have TDRS satellites that are able to communicate during most of the mission along with ground tracking stations. However, that plasma buildup around the vehicle prevents that communication. The radio frequencies are unable to break through that plasma. Now, however, those of you that have been watching spaceflight, and especially recent spaceflight, might know that Starship was able to stream through reentry using Starlink because in the wake of that plasma, so you have this big plasma wake. Imagine a boat, the wake behind a boat. It's almost the same thing. Because Starlink has so many Starlink satellites, by having a Starlink receiver, and because Starship's so big, that window is really, relatively large, they can always be. What is this view? This appears to be looking out the window. They're starting to get. Obviously, it's looking out the window. That's a very dumb comment to make. I'm a little confused with the orientation.
You can see the reflection of one of the crew members in the window.
So it's doing a roll at this
point.
point.
At this point, the weather condition.
The capsule can more or less only provide roll. I mean, it can do pitch and yaw, but it can't do like 6 degrees of freedom motion because all the thrusters are facing in one direction because the heat shield is facing the other. So they can't use. That means you can't accelerate right now like nose forward. They can accelerate. At this point, they're facing backwards, so they'd be able to accelerate prograde in towards the speed. But that also means that you can really only do a little bit of steering, more orientation using the thrusters on board. And so, yeah, you'll see the vehicle roll, and that again, the roll is how you control it through reentry, is through just a roll. Earth interface attitude.
We see the same on board, Jackie.
Cool.
Houston, purge is complete. Crew and vehicle are configured for entry.
Yes, that's excellent. Obviously.
Houston copies.
So in the future...
We're in step 37, transferring nav state to BFS.
I don't know what BFS would mean. In the future, though, hopefully they won't have blackout periods using services like Starlink. And I would love if that's a future capability, would be able to have Starlink terminals on the Orion spacecraft. I almost guarantee SpaceX would do that for free just to support the mission. That'd be good for them, I think. Good publicity. And like, here, just use this for free. It's a lot higher bandwidth and more readily available than ground tracking and than TDRS. So that'd be a big upgrade. It'd be awesome to be able to receive some communication during reentry as well. The other thing I wanted to point out when people, I saw a comment, and I don't need to address this, but just keep this in mind. When people say, look, oh, there's no video, or this video is blah, blah, during the launch, or the video did this, that means it's fake. I'm sorry, but if this was all fake, you'd probably get perfect video, because if it's all fake anyway, you could make it perfect and then just upload that or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is the dumbest thing. The faults in this, and the issues, and the encoder issues, and the blackouts, and the issues in the live stream, to me, it's like having done so many live streams, that's the ultimate proof that, like, this is not fake, because otherwise it'd just be polished perfect. So, yeah, just keep that in mind, that when we experience the blackout, that's because of plasma. That's plasma getting in between that spacecraft and any way to communicate to it. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. A big one here that I didn't want to miss from Randy Bonner. Great broadcast. Thank you. Huge. Great broadcast as always. Do you know why the astronauts are excited at sea, or extracted at sea instead of on the ship, as SpaceX does for the Dragon capsule? That I don't actually know. I don't know what the the constraint there is. That's actually a really good question, because yeah, SpaceX picks up the capsule, gets them safely on a much smaller ship, on a very small recovery vessel, and then, that whole process is relatively quick. Maybe it's just because of how much time it takes to maneuver that huge ship, to get that huge ship all the way over there, scoop it up, might be hours, and maybe by that they're go for EI downloads.
Houston concurs.
Look at that. You can start to see the Earth now.
To begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time, and again will last about 6 minutes in duration.
Yeah, someone said probably because of the toxic fuel. That's a good point. The vehicle during reentry is using hypergolics, so the main thing there is the hydrazine that's horribly toxic. And when they splash down, normally they go, specifically with SpaceX, they go and sniff it and make sure there's no residual toxic chemicals, anywhere near the vehicle. And then they make sure that it doesn't have any before it boards the ship. But that begs the question, why do they still egress right there right away, or, relatively shortly thereafter? I don't know. This is a really good question. I love when you guys have good questions like this. Impact of this on society of the current missions compared to Apollo. I mean, obviously, no offense to this incredible mission. This mission has a huge impact. The biggest
as it crosses from southwest to
impact
northeast.
I think that I've seen since I've been covering this. But this is still pales, unfortunately, to the Apollo program. When everyone was united, there's only 3 sources of news where you had your nightly news was bombarded with this. It was with spaceflight. This was the only thing you could watch, for like Apollo 11 and the early Apollo missions. Already by Apollo 12, though, we basically moved on to regularly scheduled programming because we have the attention spans of donkeys. But I've seen some really positive impacts of this, though, and it's been really good for awareness of the fact that, hey, we're getting out there to explore again. We're going to be pushing the boundaries. By the way, we're coming up, likely in the next 2 to 3 minutes, we should start experiencing full blackout here, full communications blackout.
All of integrity systems are in great shape. The crew is ready to complete its mission just 15 and a half minutes from now. All of the activities today have gone off in perfect fashion. No issues with the vehicle, no issues with the crew. And the weather at the splashdown site is go.
That's good because they don't really have any other option for weather. We definitely want the splashdown site to be go. Okay, I've got the timer ready to switch over here to be splashdown once.
Coming up on 1 minute until entry interface.
I really wish they showed telemetry for us.
Mark 1 minute until entry interface. 1 minute 20 seconds until the expected start of our 6-minute blackout.
Integrity, 1 minute to a 6-minute blackout.
Integrity.
Okay. They are traveling faster than any humans traveled in, 54 years. So hitting the atmosphere at 25,000 miles an hour, 32,000 kilometers an hour. And the atmosphere is going to start doing some work here, my friends. It's going to start slowing them down. We might start to see a little bit of plasma buildup before we lose video and data.
And we have crossed the threshold, now entering the Earth's atmosphere. We're at 400,000 feet, traveling 34,800 feet per second.
Wow, you really get a sense of speed there. You might see some pulses and stuff.
Time
that
to
is from thrusters firing.
13 minutes, 10 seconds.
Oh, we can start to see some plasma. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And blackout. That's exactly what you'd expect.
And as predicted, we've entered our communications blackout.
Okay, so 6 minutes of this,
guys.
This
will be a 6-minute blackout period. No voice, no data from the crew.
Hopefully we'll get some tracking footage, though, of re-entry. Infrared would be able to get it very nicely.
We're 30 seconds away from the anticipated point of peak heating on the vehicle, where temperatures will rise to about 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the true test of our trajectory.
That was a tracking shot for 1 second. It's to the left.
And from the G5 aircraft in the vicinity of the splashdown zone, this view of integrity.
I don't think that's it.
So that pinpoint of light shows the vehicle as it enters the period of peak heating in the Earth's atmosphere, the first tug of gravity being felt by Integrity's astronauts since their launch back on April 1st.
I think I saw a streak for a second of re-entry, not just a dot, and I think they might have been looking at the moon from that vantage point.
4.5 minutes until the end of the blackout period. Time to splashdown, 11 minutes, 33 seconds.
Clock's about a half minute ahead from expected.
The landing and support officer reports that the P3 has acquisition on Integrity. Three and a half minutes left in this blackout period. This is a visualization of the plasma buildup around the spacecraft and the repelling of that heat on Integrity's heat shield.
I want to see the tracking footage, not a visualization. But at least we have estimated data. I'm pretty sure that's estimated because they don't have a downlink right now. Everyone's sending good thoughts and prayers and all the good luck here, because this is definitely the spiciest part of this mission for sure.
Flight Dynamics reports that airborne assets in the vicinity of the splashdown zone do have a visual on integrity. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our blackout period. Time to splashdown, 9 minutes, 35 seconds.
Come on, get us that tracking view.
Multiple airborne assets as part of the recovery team all have visuals on integrity.
Okay, we're coming up on, what, 2 minutes now?
And the WB-57 flying in the splashdown zone also has a visual.
That's the one we really want. That has a really good tracking asset on it, and that's flying at a really high altitude.
And the Navy helos also have visuals.
A lot of air assets have visuals, but can we get some of that?
We're still in the blackout period. Still do not have communications from the crew.
Coming up on, hopefully within about a minute now of before we receive data again and communications. And
we're standing by for communications from the crew. We should be out of the blackout period less than a minute from now.
Hopefully we get visuals of this thing soon. Watch how quickly
we are now processing data from integrity.
The visualization just faded out. Okay, we should be getting reestablishing communication any minute here. Well, hopefully in the next few seconds.
Landing and support officer reports the small boats are en route to the splashdown target zone.
Yes, finally. Hey, I'll take one frame every 5 seconds. I don't care. Paint it for me if you have to. I just want to see these visual confirmations. It was in one piece looking, so that's the most important thing. I know how hard it is to live stream even on a good connection, let alone... Oh, I see they have one shot showing it. Please take that shot.
Passing through 150,000 feet, our trajectory is perfect. We're getting intermittent views of integrity. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post-blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Your trajectory is nominal, and your recovery teams have visual.
Yes. Yes.
That looks good.
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
Big cheers from the viewing room here in Mission Control as voice communication reestablished with Commander Reed Wiseman. For America and a waiting world, Integrity is 5.5 minutes away from coming home.
Big sigh of relief. Now the next big thing is parachutes. They're going to be pulling the drogue chute out here soon, which then eventually will pull out the main chutes. So we'll want good...
Passing 100,000 feet now. Range to splashdown 19 nautical miles.
I don't know why it's flashing like this. You can almost make out its shape. Wow.
Integrity, impact to the camera controller fail is no Cab 1 views of the chutes.
Integrity.
Okay.
We're processing good data through the GPS system. A good view of Integrity. Time to splashdown 4.5 minutes.
Wow. We're coming up on drogue chute deploy here.
And a view of Integrity from the
About
WB-57.
30,000 feet.
We're at 50,000 feet.
Wow, that's a great shot. And get ready. They'll blow a hatch open and drogue chutes will deploy, which will begin the initial slowdown.
The pyros are armed for forward bay cover jettison.
That's the part that holds the chutes in place. They're below the WB-57 that's taking this image, so that's flies at normally it can fly up to like 60,000 feet. So there we go, drogues, or the forward bay cover.
The first series of parachutes.
And drogues.
And we're on drogues.
And Houston, we're visual 2 drogues out the window.
Yes.
2 good drogue chutes. Next up.
We copy, we see them.
Yep,
next up, the deployment of pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Woo! I've seen plenty of re-entries, but this one feels different just because it's
flight dynamics.
Good rates on 2 drogues.
It's just so much crazier.
We see the same on board.
Still in the 2 drogues. Ooh, that's a good shot. That's a good shot.
Passing through 10,000 feet.
Okay, here we go. We're going up on main chutes. It'll pull the pilot chutes, which will pull the main chutes. There we go. Pilot chutes pulling the main chutes out. 3 chutes. Reefing.
Main chute deploy.
Good. They just one looks a little wonky, but it takes a second sometimes.
We're at 5,000 feet.
There we go. It's working. It's working. They're all.
Search and recovery beacon has been activated on Integrity. And we have 3 good main chutes.
Oh my God.
Good 3 main chutes, good reefing, good descent rate.
And we see 3 good-looking parachutes.
Whoo! I didn't think I'd get emotional about this one, but here we are.
Integrity. Cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
Integrity copies.
Woo! All right, everyone.
This is a perfect descent for Integrity.
Oh.
Its crew sounding hale and hearty on board. Time to splash down 1 minute, 15 seconds.
I've talked to people that have worked on this mission, and they told me I'm not celebrating until they splash down and egress safely. And my friends, I think there's going to be a lot of people celebrating a safe return home here
spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st, and a trip around the moon.
Absolutely incredible. All right, coming up on Splashdown here in about 30 seconds. Firing off some additional thrusters, maybe just to outgas, bleed off all the additional hydrazine. I don't actually know why I'd be
passing through 1,000 feet.
Thrusters now, 1,000 feet, so 300 meters. Huh. I mean, those are definitely thrusters firing. I'm not sure why they're doing that unless they're trying to orient perfectly. I wonder how visible that is in visible light instead of infrared. Not as visible. But here we go. Splashdown expected any second now.
Houston Integrity, Splashdown, sending post-landing command now.
Splashdown confirmed.
Copy Splashdown, waiting on VLDR.
Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time,
Let's
5:07 p.m. Pacific Time. From the pages of Jules Verne to a modern-day mission to the moon, a new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete.
Oh, that feels
Integrity's
good.
astronauts back on Earth.
We're so back. Literally, they're so back. Oh, that's gorgeous.
And the landing and support officer reports the vehicle is stable 1. We still will be deploying the crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts.
I remember, Gus Grissom would tell you after the second Mercury mission, don't celebrate until they're totally out safely, because he almost went under during the recovery process. Obviously, we've learned a lot since then. Obviously, lessons learned in that case. But we still do want to make sure the crew is able to get out of there safely. But for now, I mean, that's a walk in the park compared to all this stuff. And especially with calm weather, that's a big consideration, is how strong are the waves. It looks crystal clear, calm seas. This is, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. And they called it stable 1, which is its default landing position. It could land stable 2 or, in another orientation where it's landing on its a little bit more on its side. And they'll inflate these balloons, basically, that help make sure that it is correctly oriented. I wonder if they'll show us how far... Yeah, are those the recovery vessels moving in here?
And 47 seconds p.m.
Amazing.
Integrity Houston, comm check on VLDR.
Houston, we have you loud and clear on VLDR. How else?
We have you the same. We'll meet you over in post-landing.
Perfect communications established.
A journey. We are stable 1, 4 green crew members.
Houston copies all.
Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members. That is not their complexion. That is the fact that they're in great condition. That's what that means.
Yes.
So stable 1, upright. The crew module uprighting system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium to maintain the upright configuration for the vehicle. This was a textbook entry and a textbook touchdown for Integrity. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon.
Amazing. Well, we have a little bit of time here. Let's answer some of your questions here. We have a good queue. So again, thank you so much to everyone. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all these. Holy crap. Thank you so much. I will answer as many as I can. I'm obviously a ways behind. We got a little ways to go before we see the recovery of the crew. So I'll answer some questions here, but just wanted to say thank you if you're watching with me. I hope that you're feeling the same emotions that I am right now, of just overall excitement and relief and joy and hope and inspiration. And it's times like these, I remember I've had some questions with people, isn't it crazy, all the with everything going on right now, is this really the right time to do something like this? And my answer to that is, my friends, we need good stuff in the world. Even in the dark, especially in the darkest times, you need joy, you need inspiration, you need something to look forward to wake up to be excited about. And for me, spaceflight has been that catalyst. It's been the thing that I look forward to, that makes me excited about the future, that makes me excited about humanity working together. And this mission really drilled that in for me. I have times of doubts and low times, and I have times of feeling like we're not progressing enough, or, that it's sad about the state of humanity and how we treat each other. And then you have a mission like this where you see 4 humans just absolutely filled with joy going and exploring our nearest cosmic neighbor for the first time in my lifetime. And man, it feels good. It feels good. If you get a chance today, hug someone you love, call someone, send someone a text. Just if you're feeling the same emotions I am right now, share that love. Yeah, this is an ironic thing to answer right now, and an ironic thing to ask in a, how do you feel about people throwing money at you? Seems exploitive. I've enjoyed your content for years, but your live streams are insane. Love you, but ironically, you're doing that while sending money my way. As you know, in big streams like this, there's no way we can keep up with all the questions. We have, thousands of questions coming in per minute, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to be here to help explain my experiences, the things that I study the best I can. And I think a lot of people wait, especially if I've been working on a video for a long time, or if they've been a fan for a long time, these live opportunities are a chance to interact. And I never expect it. I never ask for it. I'm always extremely thankful for those of you that are able and willing and feel like, contributing. It means the world to me. I hope that you see how it comes into play. If those of you that watch our high-speed footage know have a sense of some of the gear, the hundreds of thousands of dollars of gear that we put in to be able to do live streams, and you know how I am relentless about the quality of work that I do. And so I, from the bottom of my heart, you guys are the reason. If there weren't this many of you watching, liking, sharing, this would not be possible as a career and as what I do for my life. So thank you. Yeah. And obviously, even if none of you were here, I think I'd still be doing this and watching this like I was in the early days, just because I do love it so much. So this is so cool. At an air show, met a pilot for the HS-23 helicopter squadron recovering the crew was able to get a special edition Artemis II squadron patch. That's sick. I'm actually jealous for that one. That is fantastic. Wouldn't a deceleration burn be the best way to reduce heating? Sure, you'd have to carry that fuel the whole time, but how much mass is being dumped with the service module? This is a great question. Thank you for asking. So remember, in order to go as fast as they were to go to the moon, it required an SLS. It required the entire SLS rocket. It required 2 massive solid rocket boosters, 4 RS-25s on the giant core stage, an ICPS upper stage. That's what it took to be able to get it going. The 9.5 kilometers per second. What is it? It's 12 kilometers per second, 32,000 kilometers an hour, 25,000 miles an hour. If you were to slow down by the same mass, the same service module, slow down, it would require an SLS amount of energy, right? So if you're either going to use the atmosphere to do that work for you, or you'd have to launch an SLS into space, which would require 100 SLSs worth of rocket to be able to get that out to the moon and then back, and then fire the SLS to slow you down. So the reality is it's just a lot easier when you have a relatively low mass service module or command module like this. When you have a relatively low mass module and you have the atmosphere that can do the work for you, have the atmosphere do the work for you. Thank you so much to Scott for becoming a member. Greatly appreciate that. Shout out to members and Patreon supporters. It means the world. And if you use Nebula, you can find my videos on Nebula too. Lee Gallagher, which HLS do you think will ultimately be used for Artemis 4? So the first landing on the moon. Which do I think will be first? The Starship lunar lander or Blue Origin's Blue Moon lunar lander? Blue Moon is, by all... It's designed, especially if they're doing like a in-between kind of 1 and 2, a version 1 and version 2, or Mark 1 and Mark 2. Then Blue Moon seems to be obviously like the simpler, it requires less refilling. It's smaller, it's more, it's still way bigger, like 10 times bigger than the Apollo lunar lander, but it's not 100 times bigger than the Apollo lunar lander like Starship is. I don't know. The thing with Starship is none of it works until they're able to refill another vehicle and refill frequently and launch at least weekly, basically. Now, right now, that sounds impossible. And right now, based on prior evidence, that sounds like the dumbest thing ever. However, once you have 6 launch sites and you have a vehicle that actually does eventually work, as we're expecting it to someday, then that can go from like completely impossible and stupid to like, oh, I guess it's not really that big of a deal. When that will happen, if that's in 2 years from now or if that's in 7 years from now, I can't tell you. But I do think that will happen, and that it will go from like this to all of a sudden, whoop, here's like the possibilities. So once you can refill once and refuel once, then the rest is trivial. So I don't know. I still almost think the blue, that being said, I don't know. I couldn't tell you because each one's going to have more delays than we expect. I just hope that one of them can do it before 2030. Are all reports done using Imperial system to be more understood by U.S. people? Does NASA use the international system inside? That's a really good question. So most rocket companies, and I think including NASA, still use metric. But I think in the communication side, they still use Imperial, which I don't get. No one gets.
Excuse me. Hey, Jackie, we just got the master diver on Star.
A good view of one of the fast boats.
Integrity Houston, if you are happy with your comm with Master Diver, you can go back to the 15-minute power down.
Okay, stand by. Yeah, we'll confirm here in a second.
The crew on board Integrity coordinating with the flight control team in Houston here in Mission Control on the timing of the power down of the vehicle, which will be the precursor to the recovery teams approaching the spacecraft. There are no issues with Integrity.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Let's see here. Will NASA ever let you and Cosmic Perspective be on the recovery ship? I'm sure millions of people would rather listen to your actual knowledge than Megan Cruz cosplaying as an engineer. Well, let me be frank. I'm cosplaying as an engineer. I don't have an engineering degree. I love this stuff. I'm passionate about this stuff. However, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that would honestly be that worth it. Well, I mean, what can I do from there? Honestly, even being at rocket launches, sometimes I don't even know if it's worth it, like financially, to bring a whole crew out there, perform these big live streams with all this gear, hotels, flights, all the expenses. I'm sure our tab by the end of the last launch was $15,000. And, would we make $15,000 more streaming from there versus me being at home? Probably not. But I love it. I love it. Recovery, there's almost nothing to see. Is it worth it being on a ship where you don't even have a view as good as I do right now with this live stream? Probably not worth it. Probably not worth it. Thank you, Brian. Hang on.
Pushing the PTT on the radio.
Push to talk.
So as we continue to sort out the communications between Integrity and the recovery teams, we are standing by for the initiation of the power down procedure.
Okay. Let's see here. Seattle Jeffin, for all those in the chat asking, the ship in charge of the pickup of the capsule is the USS John P. Murtha. Thank you. I did not know the name of the ship. I did at one point, but I forgot. So thank you for the reminder, and thank you so much. Very generous. Greatly appreciate it. Really, really sincerely appreciate that. That's so nice. And what kind of G-forces are they feeling during reentry? I don't remember the peak G-forces. If anyone chat or Discord, if you guys know, I think it was published at one point. Actually, in fact, maybe I'll call upon Discord if you guys could look that up. Peak G's normally, I think, under 5. But I would like to know if we could find an exact number on that. New t-shirt, Nominal Solidarity. Thank you so much. Again to Seattle. Really appreciate it. Man.
Seeing that you're touchdown plus 3030 for power, correct?
That's affirmative.
Yeah, I'm seeing between 3.5 and 4.5 from you guys, and that sounds about right. I feel like I remember it being about 4. I thought it was maybe closer to 5. Yeah. Let's keep going here. Alfie for president. I think we need a good global space academy where people who have a passion for space exploration can come together and advance. That'd be sick. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should stop doing Everyday Astronaut and just start just a space academy. That'd actually be really cool. Isn't that basically what Isn't that basically Star Trek? And also, isn't that Captain Kirk was also from Iowa? So you're saying, Tom, this has been the most inspirational event of my lifetime. Humans exploring the universe. Can't wait for spaceflight to be a normal thing one day. Thanks, Tim and team, for the quality coverage. You are so welcome. I'm absolutely in the same feeling as that. LA Froing, thank you very much. The Brain 2K, thanks so much for your continued great coverage, and especially the Artemis 2 launch, which I later found out was so much better than the official coverage. Greeting from Switzerland from a 7.5-year patron member. Holy crap! Thank you so much. You are OG. That's like very, very early on. Yeah, I'm really, really proud of our live stream coverage. I think that is the beauty of NASA allowing us to have the live feeds right from the cameras themselves, although we actually ended up taking almost all of our own shots after liftoff because they, frankly, were the best. So thank you very much. Vaporex, what's up again? When does the crew put on their orange pressure suits? I'm a bit surprised that they aren't in the suit many hours in advance just to be extra safe. Well, they were. They were in the suits hours in advance. I don't remember if it's 3 hours. I had that pulled up here somewhere. It's a ways in advance, though. So by the time the stream was started, an hour and a half ago or whatever it was, then they already were suited up. So that should give you some sense of that. Okay, let's keep going here. Oh, and we do have confirmation, by the way, that our shop was somewhat fixed. Like I said, Splashdown, all one word, all lowercase, everydayastronaut.com/shop. Splashdown works for our 1969 collection, including our Rocketdyne shirt, the Lunar Tour shirt, which is a very fitting shirt, and anything else in the 1969 collection. 15% off by using Splashdown. All one word, all lowercase, Splashdown. And then also, I was just told, because I was talking about hypergolic fuels that are on board that we are seeing that we're seeing right now, the hypergolic shirt is also 15% off as well. So hypergolic shirt I actually wear this one like way too often. If you see me ever around town, this is the one that I feel like I'm wearing like every other day, just because I think it's sick. But yeah, hypergolic shirt as well as the 1969 collection is 15% off now. But also be sure and check out our new Translunar Coast collection, including the shirt I'm wearing, which is our Orange to the Core shirt. A little nod to SLS's orange core and the isocyanates that help make it orange. This is going to be my all summer long shirt until I spill something red on it or coffee, and then it'll be ruined, and I'll have to have a back stock of them. But anyway, that's a sincere thing. everydayastronaut.com/shop. Get yourself some new merch. And please, like I said earlier, for the love of God, please help us clear out our RUDs. Get a shirt for $10. Help us clear out our old inventory. everydayastronaut.com/shop. Go to RUDs. Get some merch cheaper than you'll find anywhere else. Clear out our literal inventory that we have. It means the world to us. So, yeah. Splashdown, though. All one word, all lowercase. everydayastronaut.com/shop. Jared!
Right now, and incredibly grateful too for our teams here on the John P. Merthyr right now.
Yeah, look at the behind us here.
Got everybody. Hey, what do you guys think? We just brought some astronauts back from the moon, huh? Unbelievable. Thank you. Yeah, so grateful to the Navy, the sailors that are here, the NASA teams. I mean, this is a joint effort that's on their way right now. These recovery forces are getting out to our Orion spacecraft, to Integrity, get our astronauts back on the ship safely.
Yeah, and this is not just an accomplishment for NASA. This is an accomplishment for humanity. Again, a historic mission to the moon and back. How does this make you feel, and what do you hope people take away from this?
Well, I'll tell you, I think about the crew members that we've all had an opportunity to observe over the last 10 days, right? I mean, they're absolutely professional astronauts. I mean, wonderful communicators, almost poets. But then I think these were the ambassadors from humanity to the stars that we sent out there right now. And I can't imagine a better crew than the Artemis II crew that just completed a perfect mission right now. So yes, it's a huge moment for everybody, right? I mean, we are back in the business of sending astronauts to the moon, bringing them back safely, and to set up for a series more. I mean, this is not a once in a lifetime, which you hear sometimes around here. It's like, this was a once in a lifetime. No, it's not. This is just the beginning. We are going to get back into doing this with frequency, sending missions to the moon until we land on it in 2028 and start building our base.
Yeah, are we going to build on the momentum for Artemis III? I mean, it's just around the corner.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's, part of me too. Like, I can't wait to get the crew off of Integrity right now, but also getting Integrity back on this ship so we can start taking a look at it, because all that data is so precious to us right now. I mean, we are going to definitely want to take a good look at the thermal protection system. We're going to want to download all the data they couldn't transmit back to us and use that to inform Artemis III. But we're already making progress, right? You had SRB segments already showing up at KSC. Core stage for Artemis III is rolling out on April 20th. We're getting Mobile Launcher 1 back in vehicle assembly building. So yes, there is a lot to celebrate right now on a mission well accomplished for Artemis II, and at the same time, we got to start getting ready for 3.
Amazing. And last question, for people who joined us for all 10 days to see what we can accomplish together with our international partners, what do you think about the fact that we're going to keep doing this more and more and more?
It's incredibly exciting. I mean, yes, it's the contributions, like the best and brightest across the NASA workforce from across the country, our industry partners, our international partners. We had a Canadian Space Agency astronaut on board in Jeremy. We had the European Service Module. And you think, in the days leading up to this launch, I mean, 48 hours prior to launching Artemis II, I was meeting with the Italian Space Agency. We signed a memorandum of understanding to build a habitation module on the moon. I mean, you have countries, all of our allies and partners coming together saying, we are committed to this effort. We are returning to the moon. We're doing it to stay. We are building that enduring presence. We are going to master the skills on the surface of the moon so someday we can undertake missions to Mars. It's just an incredibly exciting time, and we're not going at it alone. We're bringing everybody along with us.
Absolutely. And speaking of everyone, one more time, we're going to ask the crew here, you guys ready to land on the moon? Awesome. I love that. Okay.
Shout out to the guy in the turnstile shirt. Love that. Hope he's on a holiday. If you know, you know. Let's see here. Let's go back to a few more. Oh, guys, I'm going to have to politely ask you to not send any more super chats so I can eat at a reasonable hour. This is absurd. Guys, I can't keep up with this. I'm going to fly through some of these during recovery. I'm in danger. Bobby Lim, I've seen Apollo 17 on a black and white TV. At 5 years old, I watched Challenger while in Orlando in 1986. I saw Challenger while living in East Texas. I'm assuming actually you mean Columbia in East Texas. Godspeed, Artemis II. Your heroes come home safe. God bless. That is crazy. Yeah. Wow. Thank you for saying hi, and what a history collection there. Normal person on YouTube, 94. How do they calculate and put the crew module in the correct path to land at a precise area? And how hot will the crew module get at the peak of reentry? So I believe it's, these are the numbers that I used to have just around the reach. 3,000 degrees Celsius might be something-ish. Chat, I need your help. But basically, their trajectory is fixed. Like, if you play Kerbal Space Program, you probably have a sense of, like, when you're coming back from the moon or anywhere, without making any adjustments, like, you're going on this exact path. It's like a straight line, right? And the only thing you can really do in the last bit of the mission is be steeper so you land shorter, or be higher up in altitude so you land further away. You're mainly changing your downrange to be able to target a precise landing site. But the left and right is mostly up to the rotation of the Earth, especially when you're on an inclination like that. It's more about the time of day, and that all comes into all your mission planning from launch date, even from literally the launch date. So I'm glad that you guys understood my Ralph. Yeah, hopefully that answers that question. Lee Gallagher, do you think the Chinese will do Artemis II style mission with lunar spacecraft prior to doing the landing? I'm not sure. They do have a separate launcher for their crew capsule as they do their lander. So maybe they will do a crew flyby before landing. I think that'd be cool. Also might buy the U.S. a little more time. You don't know. You never know. You don't know. You never know. Christopher Levick, at full throttle, how fast would Starship be going when it runs out of fuel, assuming it was full of fuel and left Earth orbiting, heading to outer space? Okay, hang on. At full throttle, how fast would Starship be going when it runs out of fuel, assuming it was full of fuel and left Earth orbit, heading to outer space? As in, if it was in low Earth orbit with full of fuel. I'm going to answer it this way, because obviously if it's full of fuel on the ground and it's barely eking into orbit, it ends up going 17,500 miles an hour, 28,000 kilometers an hour is from full of fuel. Now, if you had a full Starship, the upper stage, full of fuel, it's another almost 9,000 or maybe more than 9,000 meters per second, which is, again, roughly like 16,000 miles an hour, 26,500 kilometers an hour. Yeah, that's about how much it can accelerate. And the full throttle thing doesn't matter as much. A full throttle only matters when you're opposing gravity, when you're like taking off. Once you're in space and in orbit, the throttle setting doesn't really matter. It's more about how efficient is your engine. That's how fast your velocity will get. That's what changes your velocity mostly. Adam Barry, what's up? Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate that. NASA gets a W for that Orion, the Orion crew module separation footage. Amen to that, Peter Moss. Darth Fritter, how is it that NASA doesn't have SpaceX quality cameras? Because literally the spacecraft has been designed for 21 years, and adding even the solar array cameras were kind of a last minute thing 4 years ago. And at that point, those cameras were 6 years old, and they're still relying on low bandwidth. The biggest thing is the bandwidth. They're using TDRA satellites, which is the terrestrial downlink relay satellites. I don't remember what the T actually is, but that's what communicates with spacecraft in space when they don't have a ground link. And so when you have a downlink on the ground, you do have some higher bandwidth, but nothing beats having 10,000 satellites overhead to be able to provide a high quality imagery. Toss spin not available. What do they feel with separation? You'd feel a little bump because it's a reaction force. So you'd basically just feel like someone came up and just gave you a little, it's not much, but you would feel that separation. Stage separation during ascent, though, goes from you being pushed back your seat to all of a sudden being completely, free floating. And then as the second stage engine lights up again, you're once again accelerated back into the back of your seat. JB Clay, my wife's company makes sensors for Artemis. What is the appropriate celebratory gift for her? That's up to you, my friend. I would say a good celebration would be a favorite drink, maybe a nice meal, maybe a foot rub is the appropriate, a massage, a hug, great work, some compliments, just being supportive, I would say, is the perfect celebratory gift. Tomorrow will come. My 5-year-old son James is watching. We've watched the launch, flyby, and now re-entry stream together. Thanks for bringing space down to Earth. James says hi. Well, thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you for watching together. Fantastic. That's so great. Tony Gomez sending love from Rocket Ranch Starbase. Hey, Anthony, what's up? Godspeed, Artemis. I can't wait. For the record, future Starship streams, we're going to be streaming. And I'll be hosting, assuming I can be there. I have 2 conflicts that might interfere with this next launch attempt. But otherwise, future launches, I will be live streaming. By the way, you can get a good sense of the heating there. I'll be live streaming from the Rocket Ranch outpost. So I'll be actually closer than I was at our Mars studio. I will be 4 miles away, so 6 kilometers away. And you can be too, by the way. They do sell tickets to the public. So keep that in mind. Oh my God, it's Birdman Archive. Watched it together with my skeptic friend from my car screen at a Target parking lot in Texas, trying to convince him the Apollo missions were real. Well, I've got a 2.5 hour long video for that, my friend. You know, there's a lot of reasons. But frankly, the biggest is, why would they fake it? Like, what good does that do? Why would you fake it and still build the world's most powerful rocket at the time? Like, if you're going to fake it, just don't bother building the rocket, and then don't launch it, and then don't have the rocket be capable of all the things, and then don't have it be so successful that your Soviet Union enemies are congratulating you on it and offering to recover crew in the event of emergency, like Apollo 13. Watch that video and then ask sincere questions. Tony, how do they prevent hitting a satellite? So this is a good question. Basically, they track every known satellite, and you have these collision paths. But during reentry, actually, I don't quite know how exactly to time it. But do remember, it's a lot harder to hit a satellite than you might think. Even though, you see those visualizations of Earth covered in 10,000 satellites, and they're all the size of Los Angeles. And the reality is, a satellite is the size of, a car most of the time. So it's actually quite hard to hit a satellite. However, you still want to know where they are and track them to know that you're not going to have a collision event. And that's something they just deconflict. And I tried to do a video on that when I did the video about the range. I was hoping to get more information about the decollision stuff and the COLAs, but I don't actually understand it that much. Pete Mackey, thank you so much. Gabe the Hexton, got the whole family watching together on the big TV. Thanks, Tim. Go Artemis, go humanity. That's amazing. I love it. Andrew Matthias, hey, Tim. Jack and Woody here watching in Wales. If you haven't already, you must listen to 13 Minutes to the Moon podcast. I've listened, I think I did a while ago. I feel like that's, I did a long time ago. I feel like that's older, right? Bill Shipman, hi to future astronauts at Knapp Elementary in Pennsylvania, Tim, and thank you so much for your amazing coverage. Well, thank you so much for saying that, and to all the amazing kids there as well. Thank you. Why do we need crew for this mission? You don't. They already flew an uncrewed one, but at some point you have to get humans in the loop. You have to test out everything, make sure things are working as you expect. One of the NASA, I forget his name, during a press conference basically said, if we're not, humans have the capability of love. And, if we aren't sending love out into the universe, what's the point? And I thought that was one of the greatest things anyone's ever said. So, it's an ultimate shakedown of humans in the loop. And do it now, because the next time we're going to be, soon we're going to be landing on the moon. So you really want to make sure the Orion spacecraft is totally up to snuff. So let's see. Rich the Noun. Holy crap. Thank you so much, Rich the Noun. Holy crap. Okay, everyone say thank you to Rich the Noun. Shout out to my favorite people, Deb, Carmen, and Sammy. Love you. Enjoy the splashdown. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I missed that earlier. Wow. That is huge. Thank you so much. Dang. I think I still owe the crew another round at some point next time I see him. Andre Hellebust. Greetings from Norway. Love your content. Shout out to my girlfriend Linnea and nephew Oli for supporting my obsession with space. I love to hear it. I love to hear people watching together. Lone Wolf, this is so freaking cool. I absolutely agree. This was the mission of the decade so far. So thank you. Mike's Daily Gaming. My great aunt was the secretary of the chief of astronauts until about 2010 at NASA. She passed away last October. She joined NASA after falling in love with the Apollo missions. So she'd love this. Oh man, cheers to your aunt. That is amazing. She would absolutely love this. Don't forget though, parts of her and parts of what she had done in the past contributes to this mission as well. So, that's what I love about this kind of stuff is this knowledge lives on, and the expertise and it lives on through we're standing on the shoulders of giants is a fitting term, because, missions like this wouldn't be possible without, people in the past setting us up for this success. So, cheers to your aunt, and thank you for that message. From Kickbutt 2000, thank you so much. My nephew Miles is wondering if you could help explain why we lose radio contact when integrity is re-entering the atmosphere. Love your videos. Yes, thank you so much. I did explain that, but I'll do it again. Basically, radio waves can't penetrate through plasma. And the vehicle's coming into the atmosphere so fast that it's running into the atmosphere, right? So it's literally, imagine it running into the atmosphere. It's coming in screaming 10 times faster than a bullet, and it starts to hit the atmosphere. And what happens is it's not air friction. That's a very common misnomer. It's people tend to just say air friction. It's technically compression of the air. So it has this big flat, heat shield that's coming in, not flat, a little bit, slightly rounded heat shield that's coming in. And as it runs into the atmosphere, the air molecules can't get out of the way fast enough. And so they end up, air's, literally can't go any faster than the speed of sound. So even if it is going the speed of sound off of the heat shield, this thing's coming in at Mach 33 or whatever it is. So, by the way, you can see them sniffing for hydrazine, for hypergolic propellants or anything toxic to make sure, and they're all wearing masks and everything as well with oxygen supplies to make sure that they're safe to continue with egress. But basically what happens is the air gets compressed in front of that heat shield. And when air compresses, it gets so hot from compression that it changes from a gas to the next state of matter, which is a plasma. That plasma, it stays so hot for, a handful of seconds, leaves a wake, a cone around the vehicle. Literally, like, imagine the wake of a boat, but in 3 dimensions. A wake of a boat is in 2 dimensions. It's basically on the surface of the water. Actually, it does go underneath the water as well. But it's not going over the top of the boat, right? But just imagine a 3-dimensional cone of a wake of plasma. And that is so dense or so thick, so impenetrable by radio waves that you lose communication then during that period. Let's see. Tom Struck, thanks team. Best wishes from Tasmania kids. Rufus 7.5 and Beatrix 2.7. Memories for life. So excited. Thanks for your efforts. Well, thank you for tuning in from Tasmania. Amazing. Larry, great broadcast. Keep up with the great work. Thank you so much. Animating Josh, recovery tests showed that processes take too long, so astronauts out first, then take care of the capsule. That makes sense. Okay, so that's an answer to the question of why don't they recover? Yeah, so I'm guessing it's just because of the scale of this. They're using bigger, slower ships. It's different than Dragon. Dragon's almost the same size. It's smaller and lighter, but it's not like it's a third the size, but they use a much smaller boat to just go over there and scoop it up right away. And I could see where they wouldn't want the crew on board for the 2 or 4 hours of recovery or whatever it is. Chazzy Mac, what's up? I know it's like 5 days later, whatever. I can understand re-entry blackout being stressful, but the blackout around the moon, why did that come with stress? Orbital mechanics says normal, right? Yeah, absolutely. There was, to be honest, like the stress is more just like, it's just an unsettling sense that you cannot communicate with these humans. There's nowadays with Starlink and stuff on Earth, there's really nowhere on Earth where you're unreachable. So to have a blackout period where there's a giant moon between you and these humans just feels funny. No matter, the reality is if they were going to randomly crash into the moon, that would have been known forever in advance because their trajectory, they couldn't have done anything in that moment to like change their trajectory. And, oops, we ran into the moon. But I don't know. There's always that sense like, what if during that blackout period, something happened and they didn't have a way to communicate and ask for help? Very low chance, almost zero. But I don't know. It's more the sense of it, in my opinion. From Hank Peters, I wonder what their first meal will be after returning. I wonder, too. I wonder, bobbing around like this, I wonder if any of them are getting a little nauseous and how hungry they'll be and how, excited they'll be to eat a good meal. From JKJK, go Artemis, go crew, waffles or pancakes? To be honest, I don't love either of them, and they're about equal to me. Like, tomato. I mean, I like the fact that waffles can hold fruits better. I like to put fruit if I'm going to have a battery waffle. Give me some fruit. I don't know. They're equal to me, and I'm sorry if that's controversial. Mason, RS-25s on Artemis II docked Discovery to Mir, delivered the cupola on Endeavour, and serviced Hubble on Columbia and Atlantis. That's crazy. Those are some famous RS-25s. They've done... Their service in life has been amazing, and now humans to the moon. So that's incredible. Thank you for that fact. I did not know that. Second dose. Where do you see the future of space exploration heading? More competition between nations or more collaborations like a shared moon base? As far as like deep space stuff goes, I think there's going to be some competition. I think there will be almost a territory war, especially if we start actually getting useful resources. Like, I mean, I think we're 15 years away from this, but if we start producing computer chips on the moon and it's cheaper to do so there than it is on Earth, game on. Game on. You know, that is one of the biggest industries on the planet. And if we can get that off the planet and it can be cheaper because of greater access to consistent power and, lunar regolith, there's reasons to do it. But, yeah, I don't know. I can see there being some competition for sure. Think of the G-forces. Thank you, Mauricio. Blue Miata. Amaze. Very fitting. Thank you so much. Bowden, the distance from Earth went up like 20 miles, then back down. Does the capsule really skip that much before slowing and re-entry? So I missed that. It could always be... Sometimes there's just literally a blip in data. There can be telemetry issues. I did not see that creep up and down. But it could be. If it's a skip... Let's see. 20 miles, though. That is a lot. Let me think about this. Oh, that'd be almost 100,000 feet. I don't think skip reentry, between skip and not skip reentry, was 100,000 feet. Or 30 kilometers. Yeah, I don't know. That could have just been an error. I am sweating. Holy wow, W NASA from Lone Wolf 36. Thank you so much. Hank Peters, they must be dying for a nice fresh salad or some good olive oil. Maybe. I like thinking about their food though. I like where your head's at. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it too. Ziggy Sachs says every step went off without a hitch. No imperfection. NASA really looks good. Welcome home, Artemis II. Thanks for the coverage, Tim. You're welcome. And yes, huge cheers to NASA, the crew, all the contractors involved, the international partners involved. Yeah, this is huge. This is great. I mean, this had to happen on this. If this hadn't gone smoothly and had massive hiccups and even just massive scrubs and stuff, I think it really would have been a bad time for the program. It would have put it under a lot more stress than it needed. I think this was a invigorating and rejuvenating opportunity for NASA, for the workforce to go, look, we can do this, and for the administrator, Jared Isaacman, to be saying, hey, we're going to be doing this a lot more often. So, let's all, put on our work boots. Let's get our butts out there and let's step this up instead of, like, we haven't had a call like that from NASA since I've been following it. The administrators normally just like, we'll go with the status quo. Whatever you guys are doing, just keep doing it. And Jared's like, no, get to work. Let's go. Let's do something. Not to say, let me be clear. I have a lot of friends that work at NASA that are some of the hardest working people I know. However, there can be from the top, if you're just complacent with like, oh, that mission, we can do that in like 3 years. I think you need someone to come in there and go, why aren't we doing this sooner? What's the holdup? And to try to streamline some of those things. I love that we're trying to move the next launch to 2027, even though it's low Earth orbit, just to start setting these goals sooner. Start moving things this way towards us. Get going. Let's do this, at least once a year, and then get down to the point of it being every 6 months. Lee Gallagher, incredible. Welcome home, Artemis II crew. Amen. Destrava, it's almost as if the universe itself wants us back out there with how perfect this mission has gone. Let's go, Artemis. Absolutely. There's something there. It feels like the universe is just beckoning us to come and continue exploring. Greg, this is our generation. This is our generation's Apollo 8. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Adam Barry, thank you so much for another donation. Liquid Chris, so how bad were your sunburns from the launch? From a sympathetic, very pale fellow Iowan. You know what? Actually, it wasn't that bad. I was applying sunscreen like every time I was off camera. I was going in, especially on my neck, because the sun was right over my shoulder. And luckily, it was covered for the peak UV. I maybe was a tiny bit red like that night and a little bit red the next day, but I don't remember even feeling sunburnt. So I think I did pretty good. And I take that stuff relatively seriously. So let's see. William Brinker, author, will the crew go into quarantine or was that just what they did for Apollo? That was only Apollo 11, actually. And then once they determined like this isn't a big deal, the following Apollo missions did not go into quarantine. So they will not be in quarantine after Splashdown. Hang on.
Here on the bow.
It's not the crew. I'm listening to see if they're going to talk to the crew because I'll shut up for the crew. That's for sure. Oh my god! I think this is the longest queue. Guys, I love you so much. This is killing me. I don't know how I'm going to get through these. I don't know. I don't remember last time we've had this big of a queue. And I'm sincere. Thank you. For real. But please stop. If you want to support the work I do here, head on over to everydayastronaut.com/shop. Get yourself something. Get something for yourself so you can go out there and wear some nerdy stuff out in the world. Including I've been wearing this like nonstop, by the way, the Artemis metal core hat. I think that's hilarious and awesome. So everydayastronaut.com/shop. Use coupon code Splashdown, all one word, all lowercase, to get 15% off of our 1969 collection, as well as a few other things. I don't like the water bottle, I think, and the hypergolic shirt, and help us clear out our RUD section, our rapid unscheduled discount section, please. This is leftover inventory that we need to get rid of. So, everydayastronaut.com/shop. I'm going to officially request, if you want to support the work I do, please do that. Because I'm going to rapid fire these now as fast as I can. Thanks for amazing coverage. Waiting for Artemis 3 now. Absolutely. Big F we. Excellent job. We need this news in today's world. Absolutely. I'm with you. Thank you so much to Wyatt for all mankind from Al Pastor. Every scientist that made a breakthrough was a mad scientist. Stay crazy, my friends. Absolutely, Mauricio. I love it. Thank you for the membership to these folks. And Cooper, thank you so much. And never apologizing for bringing joy and positivity to all of us with your love of space. Thank you for everything, Tim. You're absolutely welcome, Max. I can't help myself. Vazir says, you're awesome. I would rather your channel than NASA. You're that good. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. However, I'm going to always be relying on the experts at NASA and for these feeds and the opportunities that they bring us. So, and that goes to any of the launch providers. They're the ones doing the work. So, huge thank you. Lee Walden, Apollo 12, Christmas Eve. During the height of the Vietnam War, we got a memory of God's gift from the moon. I lived it and I've never given up on that dream. You're absolutely right, but I think that's Apollo 8 that actually was on Christmas Eve. But you're absolutely right. It was some of the darkest times in at least in American history. Was literally also during the Apollo program. And the Apollo program was a beacon of light during some of the most tumultuous times. Thank you to the new members. You guys will be getting early access, of course, to my next big video. I don't know if it's going to be I'm aiming for the next week or two to get my big HLS deep dive out. And it's looking like it's going to be over an hour and a half. Sorry, not sorry. I love it, though. Great animation, so thank you to members and everyone. Jeffy, used to work at SpaceX on Dragon. Thrusters firing when chutes were deployed was likely to depressurize the propellant lines. Just my 2 cents. I'll take it. I'll take it. I think that sounds absolutely plausible to me, so thank you so much. Mechanic, I love that. Tim, shut up and take my money. I appreciate everything you do and your crew does. Thank you from Sweden. Well, I appreciate you, too. My Balls UK, 3 million watching NASA stream live, 50 watching Everyday Astronaut stream. A moment in history. You got 2% of coverage. Yay, space. Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's pretty incredible that just a guy from Iowa just chilling on myself can get 2% of NASA's feed. That's actually incredible. So I'll take it. A para-character. By the way, we're getting close to crew egress here. Now that the side hatch is open, I should shut up for a minute. I have one more. I'll do this one. This is a big one. Another Chazzy Mac. Again, thank you. $100. Aloha and great stream today. Thanks for working hard over the last many years to bring space down to earth for everyday people like me. I love the vids, love the streams, and you've gotten interviews with the LD leaders of space exploration. Thanks so much for bringing us along. Chazzy Mac, greatly appreciate you. Thank you so much. Sincerely. I'm going to listen in here for a second. They're starting to deploy the raft.
With each astronaut assessing them.
And I want to see this crew get out of the spacecraft. Let's go. That might still be a while. Okay, I'll keep listening in. I'll keep going as fast as I can. Tyler Hillard, thank you so much. DJP Video, thanks for all you do. Not sure if you've seen my channel, Doug Johnson Productions, but I cover live production. Your truck is similar to mine. I'd love to have you on to show it. Oh, that's awesome. We now have a trailer. I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but yeah, we should be showing that off. We've shot a bunch of stuff for it. I just haven't had time to edit anything together yet. Building the front porch. Ben Roberts, hi Tim, haven't really got a cue this time, but just wanted to say thank you for making me fall in love with spaceflight years ago. And again, recently, you've made my life more exciting than ever. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Stefan Whipple, thank you very much. Dallas Mavs, awesome. Reach for the Stars, Jackson and Lincoln. I love that. Do it. Kyle Vickers, I'm making my 6-year-old lad daughter watch this and explain to her why it's so important. I know it doesn't mean much to her. Could you give her a shout out and tell her why it's such a big deal? Her name is Darcy. All right, here we go. Miniature rant to our dear friend Darcy. Darcy, in my lifetime, I'm over 40 years old. I've never seen humans fly out to the moon. The moon, that thing that you see in the sky, that's way out there in space, floating out there 250,000 miles, 400,000 kilometers away from where we're sitting right now. Humans just flew around that. They've gotten this little itty bitty capsule and they flew around the freaking moon. And to me, that's just about the coolest thing. I've not been alive to see that. And to me, that's exciting. That's worth being excited about. And it's only going to get better from here on out. So you better get ready because there's going to be a lot more of this. Let's see here. Infamous Jovian. Hi Tim, tell us tell us how you have a party in space. Great question. You get up there and you just have the best time of your life. I think that's the way. Let's see here. Rarvolt. Can't wait to see you on the other side. Are you ready? Well, I won't be going to space anytime soon. That's for sure. Harmer, thank you so much. And Kelly Cantwell, keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Let's see here. We are all for Team Space, but somehow SpaceX makes NASA seem like a bunch of amateurs. I hope they get in contact with teams like yours at NASA Spaceflight. I think you're speaking specifically in production. I think the last NASA stream was a bit of a fiasco, and I think it's a wake-up call. But yeah, I assume you're just talking about the live stream because we all know this mission was an absolute bullseye, perfect mission that we're all excited about. So I think that'll be improved. Sometimes if you're a little rusty, there's only room for improvement. Thanks for the informative streams. You're welcome. Love your enthusiasm. Gene and Darren, thank you so much. Appreciate it. G-Warg-G's. R-Guy53, could they turn on their iPhones and make calls to family? Not yet because they're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. They wouldn't have cell phone service. Now, if they were on, not to do a shout out for T-Mobile, unless T-Mobile, if you want to partner someday, because I actually would love that. If you want to talk about Starlink, because, now they could literally do voice and at least for sure text and some light data over Starlink on a T-Mobile phone. So that'd be pretty sick. That'd actually be really, really cool. But right now, when you're hundreds of miles off the coast, there is no cell phone service. But hopefully soon they'll be able to. Rod, thank you so much. Hello from Dunlap, Illinois. Awesome. Thank you, neighbor. Penguin. Civil Air Patrol already exists. Volunteers wanted. But Civil Air Patrol, what about space? Patrick Hanley, did they have to turn their iPhones to airplane mode for Splashdown? I don't think so. I don't know actually what data mode they were in. I assume cellular was off during the whole mission just to not have extra, frequencies floating around. Let's start looking to alternative propulsion methods such as anti-gravity and nuclear fission. Lee, I agree, but, I think everyone wants that. Everyone's looking for that, but where do you start? Like, what's that look like? What's that? Oh, let's just look for it. Like, what do you, how do you do that? You can't just, everyone wants that. That's like the holy grail. Maybe someday we'll get there, but yeah, I don't quite know how to answer that one. Diego, what are the orange balloon things on the capsule? That's to make sure if it were to tip over, that, speaking of tipping, Jesus, camera roll. If it were to tip over, it rights itself and keeps it in a stable position. John, thank you. Great job as always. Thank you so much. Vinny, and that's the way it is. April 10th, 2026. If you know, then you know. Thank you so much. Randy, I was 13 when Apollo 11 returned. I'm so thankful to live long enough to see us return successfully again. Yeah, that's, isn't that true? My biggest wish in life is that someone walks on the moon again before all of the Apollo astronauts pass, the ones that walked on the moon. We have to have a moonwalker alive to pass that baton on, just metaphorically. It'd be such a shame, such a cosmic shame that an entire lifetime will have gone by between moon landings. So, yeah. Who else to watch an Everyday Astronaut? I keep going. Thank you so much, Marius. Really appreciate that. Dominic says, Starlink would not fix the blackout. Starship gets away with it because it's so big, it leaves a hole in the plasma behind it. Orion is much smaller, so it gets completely engulfed by plasma. I beg to differ. The plasma, the hole is smaller, so you would have a narrower window, but you still have a window. It's the angle of the plasma isn't that great. It's like, the angle is roughly the same. They're all 360-degree cones. Starships is just bigger. So you have a wider angle of view. If you're like on the center of the Starship vehicle, you have a slightly wider angle of view where there's more Starlinks. You'd still have some Starlinks, even with Orion. It's not like the plasma goes back. I don't think it encloses. That actually could be a question. I don't think it encloses, though. I think it cools down to subplasma before it would enclose. You might be onto something, but I think. Thanks for your enthusiasm and diligence, Tim. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Sober Guy Zero, this is going to be an awesome year for spaceflight with Artemis and Starship. What are we more excited for, Artemis or Starship? At this point, both, because Starship is in the Artemis program. Starship is the human landing system, one of the human landers for Artemis 4. So I'm excited for both. Sincerely, like equally, all like total, fandom aside of either program. The fact that we are flying these vehicles, we are seeing this vehicle doing such a successful mission, and it's all looking so good, to then going into Starship and having Starship's role, and then also having New Glenn and Blue Origin and Blue Moon's, role in this program. It's an exciting time to be alive because we're about to see just the most crazy stuff happen. And I can't wait. TDC 96 comms issue with the rescue team, like getting home from a long flight and can't find the house keys. I think it's more like when you pull up to your gate and they sit outside of the gate and they go, sorry, we don't have anyone there to operate the jet bridge. And you're like, I literally waited 30 minutes recently, and it's just, that's the worst. Open Vino. While the meter is an arbitrary distance, a nautical mile equals 1 minute of degree of latitude at the equator of Earth. Aviation uses nautical miles and knots for distances and speed. You are the best. Well, thank you. You're exactly right. That always confuses me, though. That always confuses me. Kahuna Oki, thank you for becoming a member. Thanks for the live stream. You're welcome. I'm not stopping until you read my chat. I'm sorry, Sober Guy Zero. Dark Schwartz, Tim's late dinner tax. No dinner, only chats. Guys, I'm still... This is almost... I swear it's getting worse, and I'm going as fast as I freaking can. Oh my gosh. I will never eat. Battleborn Supermoto, all landers will be proven unmanned first. That is correct. Thank you for the pair emote from VTS 747. Richard, thank you so much. Ben, no question, just thanks. Landon, we got to watch the launch and Splashdown with my wife, Amber, and 2-year-old daughter, Rose. She loves to say 1, 2, 3, blast off now. Thanks for all you do and bringing space to me and my family. That is fantastic. I love to hear it. Thank you. Pubis Maximus, awesome sauce. Keep it up, man. Great name, and thank you. Alan B, 1280. I've been watching since 2017. Tim, you've been a great addition to my life. Thank you for everything. Well, you're quite welcome. Thank you again. 2017, you are OG. Thank you. Kahuna, okay, now they need an old-time ticker tape parade. We actually changed it for this. We have a different outro, so there'll be a different outro. It's Isentropic Retreat, which again, if you're listening to my voice, I have one mission for you. Get your cellular device out, open up your preferred streaming service, whether it's Spotify or Apple Music or Google Music or whatever title, I don't know, whatever it is. Open it up, find that app, and search Everyday Astronaut and download Isentropic Retreat or stream it or whatever. Just give it a listen. It's meant for this exact type of thing. So give it a listen. Thank you for that. M. Jolkin, what's the specific reason behind many names? Artemis II, Integrity, Orion. Why not just use one? Artemis II, the main rocket capsule, and so on. That's actually a fair question. I think it's so... Oh, man. Artemis II is the mission. You need a different name for the rocket, so you can say, like, oh, SLS has... that's a separate system, the rocket. The spacecraft is called Orion. The naming of the spacecraft is kind of silly. Like, I think a serial number is fine. I don't know why we all try to name spacecraft. And they always use, like, the same 10 names anyway. So if they ever let me name a spacecraft, I'm going to name it something memorable. Just like something like Stink. The Stink Craft. Because by the time you're in there for weeks, it probably smells terrible. I'll just name it Stinky. Let's review this. Tim, you and the team are a foothold in the space community. Keep that high-quality production coming. Will always be here. Thank you so much. D1 to DO2, great show. Use this for Uber Eats from your friends in Maine. Thank you so much. I literally was thinking I might just tune out here for a second and get some DoorDash or something. Thank you so much. Give us the iPhone footage. I can't wait for more iPhone footage. That's my favorite footage from this so far. Thank you, Joe. Zach Woods, I'm a software engineer. I built a draft of the AI automation that other chatter mentioned where it breaks down the NASA livestream comms. Feel free to use. I just sent you an email. That's amazing. I will look for that. Thank you. Seth Pascal, thank you, Tim. Well, thank you. $50, Seth. For all you do, my whole family gathered around to watch Splashdown. Very excited for the future of spaceflight. Your coverage is always the best. Thank you. And again, thank you for watching with your family. That's fantastic. That means a lot. From Kinsley Tolfsred. My dad's weirdly obsessed with you. I'll take that as a compliment. Hopefully healthily weirdly obsessed. We'll keep it at that. Cork21. We're back, baby, watching with my kiddos. Question, if a drogue shoot or main shoot failed, would the other shoots be enough to slow down? Yes, they all have single redundancy for sure. So you can lose a drogue and it'll be fine, and you can lose a main and it'll be fine. With Dragon has 4 main shoots, and you'd survive probably with 2 main shoots out, but I don't think it'd be pretty. I think you'd be very injured, but you'd likely be, There's 8 people inside. That's crazy. Pharmacist Love California. So proud of these astronauts bringing togetherness in space. Shout out to my brother who watched with. That's awesome. Thank you so much to Manasvi. Nathan, how long do you think it'll be before Artemis 3? I think Artemis 3 will be waiting on the landers. I think the Orion capsule and SLS will be ready. Not going to be surprised at all if that slips into 2028. But maybe the other option is, if we don't have to worry about refueling and we don't even have to worry about, safe reentry, like if you're just doing a discarded reentry, I can see SpaceX building a decent enough mock-up with a working, Eclipse system by the end of next year and just launching it just to do the test. It wouldn't be a full-fledged, HLS, but it'd be enough to get some valuable data out of it. But I wouldn't be surprised if that moves to 2028. Razorhog, thank you so much. Again, as always, great coverage and love the energy. Congrats to Artemis. Well, thank you so much. That is absolutely amazing. Very generous. Thank you. Tagger Hewer Woods, hi from Paris. Watch this one and you're live on Starship with Starlink SATS deployment. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you watching and tuning in. Bill Ramsey, thank you so much. I'm just trying to get through these guys as quick as I can because hopefully we're getting close to the crew actually egressing. Smoke Eater, going from space to sea level that fast, how long does it take to equalize pressure inside the return capsule? So don't forget the capsule is at a constant pressure. It's at, I believe it's basically half a PSI, so 7 PSI, sorry, not half a PSI, half a bar, roughly 7 PSI, or maybe it's 6 PSI. And so once they land, they can just vent back to normal atmospheric pressure relatively quickly. But yeah, at least the pressures are relatively close. So yeah. Bunglebush, what's your favorite movie documentary about NASA and spaceflight? I loved HBO From the Earth to the Moon, especially. Yeah, that one, Earth to the Moon, is fantastic. I actually really like When We Left Earth, or what is that? What it's called? I had to download it. I had to buy it on like Apple. I think it's just called When We Left Earth, and it's When We Left Earth, narrated by Gary Sinise. It was on, I think, Nat Geo, like probably 10 years ago or more now. I still think that's one of the best ones. It's just really well strung together. Yeah, that'd be my answer. So they're getting the stabilization collar set up. That will inflate. Again, help get ready for a nice stable platform to be able to get them out, because they obviously don't want them to fall into the water. David is racing. Why do they use hydrazine over other propellant if it's so toxic? What benefit does it have? Two big things with hypergolic propellants. One, they are stable in space. They don't boil off. So they're shelf stable, basically. They don't, if you use a liquid oxygen or, methane or hydrogen where it has to be liquid in space, you have to keep it really cold. And the problem is in space, it'll warm up. The spacecraft warms up too much, it'll boil off. You'll lose a lot of your propellant. So it works in the environment of space as far as its operating temperature, where it stays a liquid. It also spontaneously combusts in contact with each other. So if you just put your fuel in your oxidizer into a thruster, it'll instantaneously ignite. It's like spontaneously. You don't even need an ignition source. The two are, that's what hypergolic means. They react with each other. So that means it's very simple. It's great for thrusters if you're just going, just injecting very quickly. You have full reliability. You never have to worry about, you never have to worry about whether or not you're going to get good ignition every single time you're lighting a thruster. So, which can be, they can pulse literally hundreds of times per second. Like you're measuring in hertz, maybe not hundreds, but maybe it is hundreds. It's very quick. Like some of the smaller thrusters can pulse so quickly. So every one of those ignitions needs to be perfect. So hypergolics is great for that. If you have questions about that, I have a holy trinity of videos that will explain every rocket engine basically. That's how do you power a rocket engine? How do you start a rocket engine, which talks a lot about that kind of stuff. And then why don't rocket engines melt? So those 3 videos will pretty much give you everything you need to know. James Gunn, hi Tim, why do the parachutes spread out and not clump together directly behind the capsule? They have these like ripples in them that are designed to basically all scoop air into the middle of the parachute, and then once that inflates with air, it's like a compounding thing where now it opens up a little bit more, and that allows more air, and it makes this like compounding effect to spread the parachute out. So, that's actually a very big engineering challenge. Farnes Noble, Tim, thank you for your information, and thank you for informing and inspiring us. Shout out from Houston, amazing, thank you so much. Mr. Brett Pollard. Hello, Brett. Ashley Braley, Andy, Mary, Keith, watching from St. Louis. Amazing. Thank you for saying hi. Pico AI search in Google is cool. That's great to know. Thank you, Carlo. I have not done that. Getting to watch the whole mission and the more to come will be core memories for my son and I. Sharing this passion in the new space age has been great. I agree. That's fantastic. And thank you again for sharing with your family. Vinyal, sorry, totally ruining your name. Astronaut at home. I love you to the moon and back. Astronaut at home. Is that me? Everyday astronaut? I like that. Astronaut at home actually is fantastic. JK, go crew, go Artemis. Ice cream or snow cones? I'm an ice cream guy. Although I do snow cones. I feel like when it's really hot, I actually think snow cone, like a tropical snow, like a really, but otherwise ice cream. Although I'm a little bit lactose intolerant-ish. So I would prefer a dairy-free option, but I'll still eat it. Don't get me wrong, I'll still eat it. Michael, we love how excited you get on your broadcast. Well, thank you. I can't help it. I sincerely try to. I'm always like, listen, I'll be calm this time. Rob Petrie, murdered with love. Your hours belong to us now. Well, thank you so much, Rob. And again, very, very generous. Greatly appreciate it. You guys, this is getting to be ridiculous. I don't know how I'm ever going to get through all these. I'm rapid firing as quickly as I can even. Thank you again, Rob. Aditya, thank you for your coverage. It's educational to watch with you. When do you think the next Starship launch will be? I think that'll be, I'm guessing early May. That's what I'm feeling now is early May. And just hopefully it doesn't intervene with the two things that I have at the beginning of May. I have the rest of May open. So I'm hoping for mid-May is what I'm actually hoping for. Shumi, if you were in their shoes, what's the first meal you'd have back on Earth? I'd actually, unless the seafood ends up, I would want a nice, seafood. I want either sushi or a nice big tuna or a steak. That's what I'd want. Jacob, thank you for becoming a member. Who Williams, love watching your broadcast, mate. Keep with the amazing content going. Well, thank you so much. Irsev, amazing show. History is made. Can you comment a bit on the procedure of opening the hatch? Basically, they literally have just a tool that they just go in there and they unlock the hatch. Basically, I think it's quite literally similar to a lug nut of a car. You just go and crank it, and that turning moves all of the internal latches in. Then they open it. That's about as much as I know about it. Go crew, go Artemis. Cake or brownie from JK. I'm actually going to go with brownies. Thank you again, JK. Jacob Youngren, bring back the full flow stage combustion sweatshirts. I don't know. You guys, you got to get on the merch now. That's old. Full flow stage combustion stuff is 7 years old. Maybe we'll do it as a vintage throwback someday, but get it while you can. If you see something in the store now, get it while you can because we do runs, and then you got to move on. You gotta keep that outfit rolling forward. You gotta stay up with the times, I guess. Sadly. Let's see here. Anton, longtime fan. Greetings from Belarus. Amazing. Born too late to witness Apollo. So excited to see Artemis. Even my cat was glued to the TV during Splashdown for some reason. I love that. Thank you so much. Random walk. RD171 t-shirt sold out. Need large. Unfortunately, that shirt's done. I'm sorry. Sincerely, this isn't like a things change, blanks change. We can't even get the same blanks. We normally release shirts during a mission or a video that's significant, and we do a run of them. And sometimes if it's a really big one, we'll do 2 or 3 runs. But then once demand on them slows down, they're done. They're done. We move on. So I'm sorry. I can't. Yeah. Matt Hutchinson, one Iowa boy to another. Artemis II. I love it. Go Iowa. Matt Peterson, love the streams. The future of mankind. Thank you so much. Airplane Willie, imagine sitting on a 9-day flight in an airliner and you have to wait another hour plus to get out of your seat. Hey, at that point, I think you're just happy. I think they're just elated. I think really the patience is because it's 9 days, what's another hour? I'm sure they're just stoked. Jacob, shout out from Illinois, watching with you. My wife, $3, awesome show. Thank you so much. I think I got to you a little bit earlier, but thank you again. Mother Jones, I'll say. I work for Constellium, reproduce the lithium alloy aluminum they used from tip to tail. It's amazing. Thank you so much. That's really cool. Joshua Ryan, bought some stuff online, but still wanted to support you here too. Thanks for your coverage. This is awesome. From Josh, Rachel, and the kids. Good job, brother. Oh, that's awesome. Joshua again. What's up, man? Thank you. Michael, hello from Canada, watching with my kids. Lila, Gabriel, and Augustus. I agree about having a new institute to learn how to work in space. So that's why I started the North American Space Institute. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Keep it great. Well, thank you. That's really cool. I'll have to look into that, actually. Dylan, as a Planetary Society member, it is awesome to see history being made. Thanks for the awesome coverage. Go Planetary Society. Amen. Love Planetary Society. One of the big reasons why missions like this have a voice in our country, you know, especially lobbying to make sure that Congress understands the importance of what NASA does and a context of space and space exploration. That's what we love most about Planetary Society, for sure. H.U.W. Williams, we were wondering what happens to the main parachutes. Do they get collected or do they sink? I actually don't know. I think they get collected just to, assuming they, I think they get collected because you'd want to make sure there's not rips or something that you didn't see that could have been, you know, near, you know, not good, right? So I think they would collect them. IRU Sev, what's going on now with the guys in the water? Can you comment on the procedures getting them out? What are the different boat functions? So basically, at this point, they're setting up to make it stable, a stable platform. First, they check to make sure there's no toxic chemicals. Then they stabilize the vehicle. They get everything out to be able to give them a platform to basically like fall out onto, you know, because it might not be the most graceful thing. And then they'll get them onto a boat and get them back to the larger Navy vessel where they will take helicopters back to shore. So that's kind of the whole procedure there. Oh, man. Eclafam5, Tim, love your streams, and shout out to Jacob, the rocket scientist. Love the space knowledge. Well, thank you so much. I feel like that almost looks like a Deftones white pony emote, but maybe it's just a regular horse. Regardless, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Bogey361, can you wish Holly Sophia a happy birthday? Happy birthday, Holly Sophia. Everyone in chat, Holly Sophia, what's up? Iso, love your streams. Even during the waiting, you keep us engaged. Wife and I are planning a trip to watch Artemis 4 in 2028 or whenever it happens. Amazing times. Yeah, that's going to be a big one. That's going to be a big one. I will be there. I hope that place is crazy. Because you'll have multiple launches. You'll have Starship launch, which will be beforehand. You'll have and or Blue Origin launch, and or, you know, SLS and Artemis and Orion. It's going to be amazing. Austin Manzo, will you ever do tall sizes in shirts? And thank you for the great stream. I normally just oversize. I have a really long torso, so I normally just oversize. But yeah, I don't know. We have a hard enough time keeping the right amount of stock on stuff. So I'm nervous if we did talls, like, and with the blanks we use and stuff. Who knows? Half of our blanks come from a U.S. manufacturer. I don't even know if they have talls. Yeah. Mark C. And Antoine Robert. Hi, I'm a new viewer. My friend Charles introduced me to your channel. Could you give him a shout out and say hi? Well, thank you, Charles, for showing your friend Mark. I appreciate both of you watching, sincerely. The Four Stooges, with all the failures of Artemis, toilet, heat shield, how long do you think the fixes will take? Will we get a man on the moon again soon? I mean, the fixes on the heat shield are already in place. They already have a new heat shield design. And they'll get to test it out in low Earth orbit, which will actually probably be a really good test just to make sure. It's more the old school way. It's more of a tried and true way, more expensive way. But they know, and I mean, frankly, they might even, I wonder if they're going to look at this and go, you know what? This profile came back perfect. We can just do this every time. That'd be nice. All right, I think we're getting close.
From one of the personnel on the front porch, it looks like they are now getting ready to deploy what they call the Air Rescue Vest, ARV. And so this is the harness that each crew member will get into in order to be hoisted into the helicopters. Again, those helicopters hovering just about 40 feet above the front porch when they're ready.
Old school with a helicopter right away.
Each crew member.
Thank you again, B-Carb. Oh, you're a different person that works on Constellium. You're a different person. Thank you for saying hi. I'm watching your channels, SpaceX Crew 2. Wow. Thank you for everything you and your team does. Well, thank you so much, Nathan. Tim down the 8 Astronaut. Thank you. I'm just just going to keep trying to get through some of these here. Oh, pointy end up. Oh, yeah, we had a wonderful truncated pointy end up. For sure. And a flamey end down. We did. Lead Farmer, my dad is whining about your commentary because he wants to watch the Talking Heads, so you get a donation to spite him. That's really funny. I'm sorry. There's always the NASA stream. Like, if you're watching this, you have the choice of watching, obviously. So, I don't know. I'm just trying to get through all these because you guys just kept going, and I'm getting really hungry already. Let's drink a coffee in space. Amen. 619
This is Mission
Bob.
Control Houston. Behind me, a fairly raucous scene as hundreds of flight controllers have poured into the flight control room here. This is reminiscent of the scene after the final shuttle mission of STS-135, although that was the end of a program. This is only the beginning of a program with the textbook splashdown of Integrity and its 4 astronauts. We're standing by for the crew to be extracted from the spacecraft. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling invited all of these flight controllers who have contributed to this mission to enter the flight control room to have an opportunity to receive well wishes and to share the mutual glow that exists in the wake of a textbook mission for Integrity. On the front screen here in Mission Control, a sign that says "Welcome Home Integrity, taking humanity back to the moon, going further, and returning safely to Earth." So all of that jubilation, part of the post-splash.
Okay, I'm going to keep going because I want to eat at some point. Lex, too many preps and steps to make it a natural space light. They got to relax, and apparently they've been doing this for 50 years between the Starship and Apollo. Yeah. Thank you so much. Oliver, see you at Nerdland Festival in Belgium next month. That's right. I still need to book my tickets. You're absolutely right. Wicked show. The only problem I have with Starship is it has no ejection system for survivability. The other challenge is by transferring astronauts as per se refueling. So yeah, it'll be a long time, and there is no plan to launch astronauts on Starship right now from low Earth orbit. They will get into Starship once it's fully fueled and ready for the moon mission. And at that point, you're already in space. You've already tested everything out. It'll be similar to, at one point you had to get inside the lunar lander, the lunar excursion module, and hope that all works well. Oh, there's Mission Control. That's cool. Wow. That's awesome. Corn Clan, me, my wife, daughter, 7, 8, Angela, and Natalie, watching and inspired. They can't believe we're watching something together none of us have seen before. Thanks for all you do. Someday another Astro Awards with the whole family. That'd be fantastic. Thank you so much. We're starting to work on the Astro Awards already for next year. It'll be later in the year, maybe even April-ish, and it very well might be on the East Coast next year. Payne Family Videos, hi from the Paynes in Utah. I've been following for years. Thanks for everything. Do question. If they use Starlink, could they eliminate the radio blackouts during reentry? So we talked about it a little bit. It definitely would help. I think, again, the wake is not as big as Starship with Orion, but I think there'd be opportunities to get some downlink. I don't know if it'd be consistent communication, but even blips of telemetry would be helpful at that point. So anything would help at this point. This is cool. This is from someone that mentioned Collision earlier. I'm an engineer for a company that provides services and support for a systems toolkit. Would be happy to give you a demo. That is actually really cool. If we can... Oh, yeah, you also super chatted that. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you can get that to me, I would love to see that, because that is one of those blanks in my knowledge that I would love more knowledge on. Gollum, Isentropic Retreat goes hard. Thanks for the stream, Tim. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. I appreciate when people listen to my music as well.
Jubilation here in the flight control room. The first crew member is out of Integrity.
Who is it? I wonder if any of them get seasick.
We are expecting the other crew members momentarily to be extracted.
Looks like that's Christina Cook was the first one out. And now it looks like Victor Glover.
We now have 2 crew members out.
That's got to feel good.
Two crew members out, 2 to go. We're about 1 hour from sunset out in the Pacific. Everything continues to go well. Integrity's systems function perfectly during its entry back to Earth. And Reed Wiseman, the commander who will be last out of the vehicle, reported that all the crew members were feeling very well.
We'd love to hear that. What museum gets the capsule? I'm not sure. The capsule will refly. They will be reusing Orion. That Jeremy?
Crew member number 3 now out.
What's up, Shane?
And now standing by for the commander, Reed Wiseman, who will be last out of his ship.
3 down, 1 to go. Thank you,
in
Shane,
the Pacific
for the
under almost ideal conditions.
support.
Integrity spanned 694,000 miles during its journey from launch to splashdown.
I've had that happen too. Okay, we have a lot of questions here while we wait for... Well, here he comes. I'll try to get to these, but it's probably going to get interrupted. Splashdown, it's softer. You don't have to have as big of parachutes.
And we now have
can land
Reed Wiseman out of the vehicle. All 4 crew members now out of Integrity.
Yep. They did it. Amazing. Yep. Get to the chopper. It'll be a few years.
Once again, all 4 crew members now on the front porch. And the procedure to begin hoisting them up to these 2 Navy helicopters hovering overhead will begin shortly.
There we go. Yeah, it'll be a few years before it's refurbished. Was there a genuine effort to recover the craft in other ways? I mean, other people, Starliner lands on land even though it's a capsule, but then it requires big giant airbags to help cushion the descent, the landing. I mean, this is just kind of the tried and true thing. It's been thought out, and it's just sort of the conventional way. The space shuttle obviously did things differently. Starship obviously was trying to do something different. SpaceX's Dragon capsule does this exact thing, basically. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat. And then who streamed Artemis in a telescope? So there's a few different tracking. There's a WB-57 that kind of looks like a U-2 plane with a big giant tracker that's at a very high altitude. They had A few helicopters and other aircraft out there tracking as well, and then probably assets on the ship as well. So they're pulling from those different cameras. Does Dragon have a quicker egress than Artemis? I believe for sure a quicker recovery of the vehicle. Total egress time, we're at an hour and a half. Pretty similar. But Dragon's a little faster. I think a little quicker with Dragon. Sailor Mike, I remember watching Apollo 8 when I was 4 and Apollo 11 when I was 5. That's awesome. Glad to see we are finally going back to stay. Let's, all fingers crossed on that. Hopefully this momentum continues. Was that a record for reentry speed? I don't know. Technically, it should be the fastest because they're at the highest altitude, but there are things like how much exactly is slung around that could change the velocity. I mean, we're talking about within like a 0.1%, a tenth of a percent or something of the record. So, but good question. Doodlebug, thank you, Tim. Absolutely love your streams and energy. Watching time with my wife and 2-week-old newborn. Holy cow. Excited for what's to come. Well, congratulations and thank you. That's awesome. Do you think they get jet lagged? So they're on a pretty strict sleep schedule that tends to, I don't know with this one because it's not the ISS. Their sleep schedule was almost more lined up with like West Coast, if I remember right, than it was like Central Time. But I don't know. I don't think you'd get jet lag because if your sleep schedule is staying, it's really just about your sleep schedule staying the same. They might just be really tired though because I'm sure you don't sleep great on a spacecraft like that. And especially with persistent sunlight and everything, even though you try to black it all out, there's going to be whirring of fans and instruments and all this stuff. I'm sure it's not a great place to sleep. Skydog, for all the chaos in the world today or lately, thank you for covering the one thing that always brings us together, space. And the reminder that we're all in this together on the same little pale blue dot. Absolutely. Fantastic reminder. Adam, thank you so much. The D family have been following along all morning from Australia. Thanks for the great coverage. Well, thank you so much, Nathan D. And appreciate watching with your family. Kay Scrico. Shout out to my twin brother, Tony, who works for the company that made the orange suits. Awesome. Our birthday is also the anniversary of the first moon landing. That's so cool. That's awesome. What a cool family. Beer. Say hi to my friend Chris watching from Mawson Station, Antarctica. Wow, that's amazing. Probably only able to stream in Antarctica because of Starlink. So thank you for saying hi. Barry, thank you. 51R, Arizona, amazing to see the return to the Earth, but seems like a primitive recovery. Again, SpaceX do it better. Sitting here watching with my son. Hi, Harrison. Hey, Harrison. I mean, I digress. I disagree right now. If you're to land from space with SpaceX, you're landing almost exactly like this. It'll be a long time before we're trusting propulsive landings with crew, right? With humans. Starship might be the one to be able to get enough flight rate to make that viable and seem safe, and get the data to be safe. But we're still a ways away from that. 2:30 a.m. in Ireland. Barry, watching nonetheless. Awesome work, man. Thank you so much. Hey, I can see the end. I'm going to push through here. Hash, as a hardcore sci fan, humanity has so much left to do, but it's important to acknowledge real milestones, and this will surely be a historic moment when we look back at the past and the future. Thanks for all you do. I agree. Thank you so much for that reminder, because that is absolutely true. Lex, why is there so many steps for something we've been doing for so long? We did it 6 times, plus Apollo 8 and Apollo 10 went out to the moon. We've gone out to the moon 8 times in total. Why are there so many steps? Because we did it and then all the funding dried up and everyone moved on and we lost talent. We basically, the reality is the Apollo program, it's not that I actually heard Hank Green say it really well. He goes, it's not that Artemis isn't late. It's just that Apollo was extremely early. Apollo was primitive, but yet they were thought so many things through. I have such an appreciation for the things that you look and you're like, well, surely we can do that better now. The reality is they actually came up with pretty much everything that's still the conventional right way to do it in the 60s. We had some really smart people just doing incredible work. And the reality is we've only been working, really, it's been about past 11 years now to kind of try to do this on way lower budget. and trying to do it more sustainably. We're still getting there on that sustainability part, and the commercial sector is catching up a lot to help backfill some of that sustainability, but we're getting there. Trey, thank you so much, Trey. My son was watching a stream of the SLS launch on the bus home from track practice, and he was the only one that knew about the launch. He got kids to watch with him and share his excitement. Thank you for inspiring the next generation. That is fantastic. Well, thank you. Thank you so much to Trey and your son, and tuning in even on the way back from track practice. That's huge. Thank you so much for that. I mean, yeah, that's awesome. And thanks for getting your friends involved. Hopefully this stuff is, like I said, it can be a shining beacon of hope and inspiration and fun. Amazing. Tom, excited to see the Homemade Documentaries YouTube channel make a video on this mission. Congrats to Artemis II. I know. Homemade documentaries are amazing. That's some of the best best coverings of spaceflight missions on the internet. Shout out to Homemade Documentaries. Big time. Sean Warren, Stardust sample return capsule, which hit the atmosphere at 12.4 kilometers per second, 28,000 miles an hour in 2006. For human spaceflight, the Artemis crew entered at nearly 25,000 miles an hour. Yep, that sounds right. And the last one I see on my screen, I just saw the one. Battleborn Supermoto, West Coast time minus 1 to 1.5 hours, depending, for their sleep schedule. Thank you. Stevie, hey there from Virginia, literally driving home for the last hour and some change listening to your stream. NASA needs to hire you as one of their talking heads. Keep up the great work. To be honest, I'm really happy doing my own thing. This is my dream job, and I've been very fortunate to be able to work with all the people that I've ever wanted to be able to work with. So, yeah, maybe someday, maybe when I want to retire out of doing this. All right, I'm officially asking again. I'm going to wrap up here because the crew is home safe. I'm hungry. I want to celebrate. I want to get some friends together and cheers to this amazing mission and cheers to the people that put this thing on. I'm going to fly through these last 3, and then I'm going to work on trying to wrap this thing up. And yeah, thank you to Ront. Everybody Astronaut, we love you. I love you guys too. Thank you all so much for tuning in still. ETR Media, so happy they're back home, and what a great day for home distilling to be legalized. I'm over the moon. Moonshine. Home distilling's been legalized? I did not know that. Literal moonshine. Kyle, this is my dream. My school teachers told me we would never go back to the moon in my lifetime. The crew is the same age as me. Follow your dreams no matter who advises against it. Hello from Iowa Falls. No way. Well, fellow Iowan, just down the street. I was actually in Iowa Falls, I think, last year for Ragbri. Awesome. Love to hear it. And Sean Warren, love your work, man. Keep it up. Was sad about Dear Moon. Enjoy your food. Thank you very much. And to everyone that has tuned in and watched us along with me, we have a wonderful shot of 4 humans back safely here at Earth, getting ready to be swept up into a helicopter. I'll be still tuning in, probably just seeing if I do want to hear them, talk and see their excitement on their face. But I'm going to leave that to you guys watching. Oh man, Sean, wait, I already did that one. Robert for food, thank you so much. And Dream Machine. Okay, everyone, I think this is it for me. I'm ready to go eat, and I am so thankful that you guys were tuning in just during this whole mission, launch, flying around the moon, landing with me. Really, it sincerely means the world. What an incredible mission. I just want to make this loud and clear, and I hope that everyone just feels this in your bones. I'm so thankful for this opportunity, this moment in history, to be able to be here watching this stuff, being excited about this stuff. And I hope that this, again, can be a beacon of hope and of light and an inspiration and encouragement that, that there's good things happening in the world. And it's always a friendly reminder that, if you work hard on something, you can do a picture-perfect mission like this. Knock it out of the ballpark. So to that, huge cheers to everyone involved at NASA, the prime contractors at Lockheed, at Boeing, at Northrop, at Thales, ESA's, I forget how to even say it, Thales Athenia or whatever it is, for the ESM, everyone else involved, Rocketdyne, and there's so many contractors on this thing, ULA, And obviously just to the crew, the 4 crew who brought us along for their incredible journey. I mean, this is an exciting start to a new era. Remember that. This is the start of this new era. It's only going to get more exciting from here. So I am just so happy that I'm finally covering a mission that went to the moon. And yes, time to make space videos long time. I will be working on more videos. Like I said, be sure you watch our high-speed footage, our super cut of this mission of the launch. It was incredible. We had some amazing NASA footage to pull from too, which was awesome. But with that, my friends, we did it. We made it through the stream. The crew made it home. They're safe. You all are amazing. Here comes the rescue helicopter. They're on their way home. I'm on my way to get food. Incredible mission. Picture perfect mission. Look at all that prop wash. Oh, they're going to be soaked. I'm sure they're not. I'm sure that they're happy to be just absolutely drenched at this point. Can I even stop right now if they're about to be plucked? I mean, it just will keep going. It'll just keep going. Okay. I'm leaving. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out. That's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people and for the incredible crew of Artemis II. Cheers, everybody.